26. We are going to get started on today's daily collective read in the next few minutes. But if you would like to get on the list for a personal reading today, the list, as always, is open. As always, it is 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps. Those are pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. We're also doing 2 giveaways today. Our first reading giveaway is going to be a reading giveaway when we get to 50K likes. So make sure that you are tapping that screen and we'll get to 50K in no time. The other reading giveaway we're doing today is going to be a reading giveaway for the highest gifter between now and the conclusion of the daily collective read. So I wish you a lot of luck if you're participating in that giveaway as well. Prior to beginning today's daily collective read, I will be giving a brief recap on what we've been seeing in the cards over the last few days. Now, if you'd like to find those full readings, you can find them over on the place where we keep the videos. You can also find them over on the place where we keep the photos. You can also find them as a podcast over on my spot and over on my stack. But before we get started today, first and foremost, most important question we ask every single day: how are we doing today? Scale of 1 to 10. There are no wrong answers. We've got a very interesting new moon coming up in Leo. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because the quality of what we're understanding is happening in the context of this new moon. Now, what have we been experiencing since the recent full moon into this one? The last full moon that we experienced was a full moon in Aquarius during Leo season. And that is really beautiful energy. That is the energy by which we can conceive of new dreams, new possibilities, new ways of doing things, right? Aquarian energy often asks us to see beyond the purview or to see beyond the space by which we ourselves are energetically anticipating, right? It's that high concept energy. And that's why we often see that the combination force of a full moon, an Aquarian full moon in Leo season, is very beautiful because it's a conversation that talks about not only, right, not only the aspiration, not only it's not enough to have an aspiration when one is working into manifestation, but one must also have, right, the perseverance to be able to effectively make headway upon it, right? It's the energy of it's the headspace with the energetic effort. Now, this is very important right now, specifically given the fact that during the same period of time, we have 2 very intense retrogrades that are occurring. And those 2 retrogrades that are occurring are happening right now in Aries. We have a Saturn retrograde that's occurring in Aries right now, along with a Neptune retrograde. And what does that effectively indicate? It works into the context that sometimes the past makes it hard to view things with a sense of clarity, right? It's often working through the optics of understanding the quality and condition by which we effectively, how we view the past that shapes our experience in the present moment. And there's something very beautiful about that too, because, one of the things that we see, I like to describe Neptune energy as being the state or nature by which we effectively store our memory, right? It's working through the context of memory, our own thoughts and feelings upon things. And with Saturn in retrograde, both of those planets in combination basically are the explanation or the exposition upon how our memories change over the course of time, right? The experience by which we perceive our memories also maturates and sometimes, right, and allows for new paradigms in terms of our own healing journey. Sometimes things get easier to perceive as we move through the context of time. Sometimes things get harder. So that work, right, of effectively discerning or working through those optics allow us a deeper connection to the self. However, in that perception of the self and the perception of those around the self, it often requires right? It often requires a feeling of being steadfast, like steadfast in the space of being able to hold and contemplate upon our own memories. Now, this is having, and at the same time that we see all of this happening, there are a couple other things that we want to be very conscientious about. We also have the fact that recently Chiron went into retrograde. And one of the things that we have to be conscientious about with Chiron in retrograde in Taurus is working through the difficulty of letting go of trauma, right? One of the worst things you can say to someone who's been energetically traumatized is you should just let go of that, right? As if it was that easy. Okay? As if trauma was a choice that others effectively carry. But what we understand in the nature of carrying our trauma is our ability of being able to observe the way that it feels that it heals us, right? That's what Chiron often asks us to do, right? It's the observation of navigating a hurt and then allowing the context of the hurt that one has experienced, right? At every moment, we either can become the source of the trauma that hurt us, or we can be the energetic healing to it. So we see that for a lot of the energy working through this right now, there may be a lot of that intensity there. There may be a lot of that work, right? That deep diving, if you will. Because I like to point out, just because a planet is in retrograde, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. I know that we've got this like anxiety around seeing in planets in retrograde, but I often like to perceive them from the context of thinking about it more as a deep dive, right? So when we're recognizing and working into a deep dive in that way, then it often feels like that observation of being able to move through something allows us to find new possibilities in terms of what we do with it. Now, this, as I mentioned, is having a different effect depending on one's own energetic alignment, specifically and particularly as it relates to the signs. Now we went through all of the astrological signs yesterday. If you'd like to find those full readings, you can find them over on the place where we keep the videos and over on my stack. But giving you a brief recap of what we were potentially seeing there. Effectively, what we are identifying right now for Aries, this may be feeling expressed as a call or desire for greater harmony, right? The observation that those who carry Aries placements often work very hard on finding the harmonic moments in their life. This is often that allowing for the context of those with Aries placements to effectively articulate upon what that means, right? How we work towards it. It's not a latent state, but a state of active of it's a state of perpetual activation, often for those who have Aries placements. So that observation or working through that ability is what's allowing Aries energy to effectively heal, but it's not necessarily easy. For Taurus energy, this may be feeling like a call for deeper empathy, particularly not only around the self, but for the circumstances surrounding the energy that others are experiencing or facing. So this may be a moment, and again, it's very much in alignment with what we were seeing with Aries placements, that observation of being able to fully understand and build into the context of what another person is navigating allows us to be able to effectively hold compassion for things. However, it also requires the state or nature of being able to understand and recognize that that compassion also needs to return back to the self. So there's a lot of that work that we potentially see there that's building into that deepening state. However, this could be a moment by which we see Taurus energy focusing on rest, restoration, contemplation, and how to find, right, how to allow for that empathy to be energetically expressed in the world around the self. For those who have Gemini placements, this may be feeling very much like an opportunity or an understanding of recognizing and identifying what it means in terms of being able to be to be in a space or to be in an energy that allows one the ability to be energetically free, right? And it's working into the context of understanding that trauma is often brought to us from those that are too demanding upon us, right? Because the ability of understanding the nature by which another person is potentially trying to bring attention, like to bring energy towards the self, but observing and recognizing whether that allows for the quality of understanding the elevation that you effectively bring to situations, right? That is either the observation of working towards kind of having to build into trust again. And you may be feeling, I want to describe for some of the Gemini energy right now, it may be feeling triggered because the hardest thing to do when one is navigating into trust is as soon as one is able to trust, it requires the space of being able to recall and remember experiences where that trust wasn't honored. Remember that the trusting is never foolish. What another person does with our trust tells us everything we need to know about that individual. While for those who have Cancer placements, this was feeling very much similar to what we were seeing for Cancerian energy last week, which is effectively having to articulate or acting as shield towards those that are more vulnerable, specifically and particularly because that is a lot of the source by which we see cancers working through inner child healing. That observation of effectively being impacted or affected by another's vulnerability and articulating to another why that vulnerability is so precious and needs to be protected. Because it's effectively connecting to experiences of your own past where you feel that others were not working towards you in the same way. So there's something very restorative there. However, it may be feeling very frustrating as one is navigating situations where you may be feeling like you're stating the obvious to those that are less caring. For those that have Leo placements, we see here that there was a lot of conversation that may be occurring in the observation and understanding that love is only love. It is if it is received as such, right? There may be a lot of work that we see that Leos are working upon in terms of explaining to another that feelings brought forth aren't necessarily healing, can actually feel damaging if another person isn't eager to receive them. So that observation of, again, potentially Leos going through their own version of inner child healing through being able to articulate that when we truly care about another, it's not what we want to give forth to them, but how it is energetically received. While for those who have Virgo placements, I feel like this is some kind of energy that is building or based upon rest, recovery, weighing and working through the past, and potentially taking new lessons from the past as it relates to experiences or situations by which you may effectively put too much pressure upon the self, right? When Virgos are in healthy spaces, it doesn't require Virgos to do all the heavy lifting, but rather the ability to recognize the energetic harmony of working towards what feels mutually beneficial. So we see that for a lot of that energy, there may be some work that's happening in terms of getting more comfortable asking for things, but understanding that when we effectively ask for things, that's how, right? That's how we're effectively able to heal more, specifically and particularly because it allows for the observation or the understanding of recognizing and identifying the shape of the environment that is around us. While for those that are in Libra placements, what we're effectively identifying is there was the cards that we saw for Libra yesterday were very, very important because what we basically saw was there were a lot of court cards that were appearing in the Libra reading. And when we see a lot of court cards, it's working into the context of being able to recognize and understand and have empathy for others. But the thing about it is, empathy for others does not erase standards, right? Like that's basically what we were seeing for Libras. It's understanding that there's empathy and there's standards. You can have absolute empathy for a circumstance or situation, but recognizing and identifying the lack of standards that another person is feeling empathic upon. So we see that for a lot of the energy doing that work, that observation of being able to kind of sort through things or sort through feelings, right? It's recognizing and identifying the feelings that feel like they're valid versus feelings that may potentially feel like they're energetically unreasonable. And in that way, we see that Libras are coming into a further state of healing. Now, for those who have effectively Scorpio placements, it's very interesting because what we were seeing for scorpionic energy right now is working into the context of recognizing and it feels very similar to Libra to a certain extent, because it's the observation and the understanding of recognizing and identifying and working through why scorpionic energy sometimes has a hard time explaining to another what they're energetically going through, because it feels that it's often like scorpionic energy often working through the observation of the energetic intensity that another person can navigate, right? You can't go deep. You can't go deep with someone if you can't go deep with someone if another person is in a space by which they're overwhelmed, right? Like that's basically what we were seeing with a lot of the scorpionic energy, that when we're navigating a state of overwhelm, it makes it hard to go deep, specifically because we don't want to overburden each other with those deep feelings. So I feel like there's something about that almost feels like a conversation or working through calibration in terms of the scorpionic energy, identifying and recognizing, right, the desire to effectively build into a deeper conversation, but not at the expense of another's emotional or spiritual stability. So we see that for a lot of the energy working through that is navigating or working through the observation of the healing of the self through recognition of understanding the quality and condition by which others feel stabilized and reinforced by a deeper, heavy conversation. For those who have Sagittarius placements, I feel like this is a moment of rest and contemplation. There was a lot of energy that we were seeing around having creative juices flowing in terms of new ideas, new opportunities, new experiences. And sometimes, like the thing that we see with Sagittarian energy is allowing the mind a time to go in order to grow. So this could be very much akin to working through either daydreaming energy or working through state like points of contemplation in order to find and identify new possibilities and experiences. For those who have Capricorn placements, it's interesting because it's working into the quality and understanding on where speed is necessary and where speed is not necessary, right? So when we're working towards, it's like healthy expedition is reasonable in terms of recognizing the point by which there's something that needs to be navigated on a certain timeline. So for a lot of the Capricorn energy, understanding how we prioritize built on expeditiousness rather than another person working through energetic insecurity, right? Because often when one is feeling insecure, one wants to rush through things. But when one is working into the context or the understanding of something that's energetically important, then it requires timeliness to be inclusive in it. So I feel like that kind of conversation is potentially either Capricorn slowing things down that don't need to be rushed or expediting things that do. While for those with Aquarius placements, we see that this is a time of building into an identity, like it feels very much like working into the sense of home, either identifying or feeling, recognizing what that home feels like, or even working through some kind of quality and condition of perfecting the home space, specifically because for a lot of the energy going through that right now, I think that this has a lot to do with the fact that we see like it's giving a lot of that energy that feels it's the focus point in terms of understanding Neptune and Saturn in retrograde, while Pluto is also in retrograde. in your own sign work. So this could be feeling like taking time to effectively catch up on things that feel like they have effectively not been addressed, or potentially polishing things, repairing, working into the context of it's working into refinement to a certain extent, but there feels like there's some point of tangibility there in terms of what one is trying to express. For Piscean energy right now, what we were effectively identifying is working through having to have a conversation on a worthy feeling versus a non-worthy feeling, right? Because it's the understanding or the conversation that not all feelings are healing, right? That a feeling that's only reasonably expressed has an address attached to it, right? So it has somewhere that it aspires to go. It has a direction. A healthy feeling has good direction sense because it fortifies the direction that something's headed in, rather than those experiences by which another person wants to effectively articulate emotions, but they don't necessarily feel like those emotions are pointing towards a specific direction. So we see that for a lot of the energy effectively working through circumstances or situations like that, that feeling of expression has to do with being able to fortify and build into, and it may be building into one's own personal experiences, right? So the ability to effectively identify the self as example as it relates to what feels like a productive feeling and healing versus experiences where we have feelings that feel like they don't necessarily move us towards something, towards something that feels directional, so much as it feels like they create their own energetic vortex. So that's where we find all of the energy in this week. Now, if you'd like to find a breakdown of each of those astrological placements, you can find them over on the place where we keep the videos and the photos. You can also find them as a podcast over on my spot at Tarot Church and over on my stack. I would also encourage you to head over to my stack to learn more about our next tarot class, which is going to be held on Friday, August 14th at 5:30 p.m. PST, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We are going to be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the 3 cards of the minor arcana. Now, if you'd like to become a part of that tarot class program, all you need to do is head on over to my stack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my stack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also, as a paid monthly subscriber, have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library class archive. Now, it's not necessary to catch up. I'll be doing my best to give you an update on everything we've studied prior to beginning that next class, but the material is there for you to receive as you're ready to receive it. You'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything we've learned and studied thus far. And if you become a founding member, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, but you'll also have access to over 20 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library class archive, as well as the opportunity of having an assessment by me where I will meet with you personally to understand where you are on your personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage, moving towards your tarot goals going forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in those classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new opportunities or any new offers or events and any of my personal schedule. I also post my mystic meditation articles there, which will let you know about my in-person, which will let you know about our what we've been seeing in the cards based upon the lunation cycles. I'm also very happy to let you guys know as well that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits. Also, for my students that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute reads, again, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey at a discounted rate, as well as dream interpretation readings, which you can purchase per dream or as a series. If you purchase a series, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. But let me know in the comments how this energy is impacting you personally, because it is going to hit everyone just a little bit differently. That said, we are going to get started on personal readings today. We do have priority, which means anybody who is on the list before we started today will have priority before we start the daily collective. We have 5 individuals on the list today. So if you get on the list right now, you will be the 6th person read for. You'll also be added to the list to be read for after the daily collective, time permitting. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Welcome to everybody joining us today. Hope you're having an absolutely beautiful day. How you doing today, Jerdam? If I'm ever saying your name incorrectly, by all means, please feel free to correct me. And welcome, Garciela. How are you doing today, Peggy and Butterfly? Excellent. Thank you for also receiving these messages, Michael. Welcome, Nambuere. I hope you're having an absolutely beautiful day. How you doing today, Bella? Good to see you. Welcome, Per. Good to see you as well. Excellent. And thank you as well for receiving. How you doing today, Joe? Daniela, welcome. I'm doing lovely today. How are you doing as well? Excellent. Yep. Valerie. Excellent. Can you just let me know? Can you just send the initial where you sent the donation? I'll be happy to confirm you on the list. You don't need to put the full name of it. Just the initial is perfectly fine, dear. And thank you for sharing the live. Always appreciate when you guys share the live. Oh, I love that, Nembuere. I'm going to pin this up here for everyone. Healing is not a destination, but a process. Beautifully stated. Tap to claim. How you doing today, Avatar? Welcome. Excellent. Charlaya, when you say, is it okay? I mean, we can do a reading on anything that you feel that you desire a reading upon. The only limitations I have on the readings that I give here are pregnancy, medical, and legal. So that said, if you'd like to get on the list right now, the list is open. You will be the 6th person read for. You'll also be added to the list for anybody who is going to be read for after the daily collective. I hope that helps. And welcome, Susie. Good to see you as well. How you doing today, Julia? So Bisque, these are donation-based readings. So we're going to be doing a daily collective today. And then afterwards, anyone who's on the list will be read for. So either if you'd like to stick around for the free collective, you're welcome to do so. We also, if you'd like to get on the list, it's 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more for those who are non-subscribers, 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for those who are, and anyone who is a paid member or a paid subscriber over on the place where we keep the videos is entitled to a free 1 card each day. Absolutely. Yep, I've got you. You are confirmed on the list today, dear. Okay, I'm going to read the list that I have right now. If you are on the list, if you sent a donation in and you are on the list and I have not named you, all I need you to do is give me the initial of where you sent that donation. I do not require the full name of the location, just the initial will suffice. The list we have right now is Per, Sophie, Julia, Ella, and Stella. If I have not named you on the list, just let me know that initial. I'll be happy to add you as well. And if you'd like to get on the list right now, you will be the first person read for once we complete the daily collective. I'm doing so well today, Daniela. How are you doing? Hi there, Color. So in terms of advice, I can answer questions here, but if you're looking for a reading, that will require a donation. And I'm sending you so much support on your journey, Karen. Make sure that you're prioritizing care of the self right now as you continue to heal. Oh, congratulations, Itchy. That's fantastic. Wonderful news. How are you doing today, Mariah? Hi there, Aria. Good to see you. Excellent. All right, I have to move Strega before we get started, but the first person we're reading for today is going to be Per. Per, if you're here, can you let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer, and I'll be right back. I appreciate you too, Daniela. Come here. I don't want to hear it. You know you're not supposed to be over there, okay? We don't have to every day. We have to go through this every day? No. Okay, come here. Now you have to say hi to everybody. All right. Okay, you want to say hi to everybody? There we go. Starting off strong. Starting off strong. Yep. All right, sweetheart. Go be. All right, you know where to go. Don't go over there. You know where to sit. Excellent. All right, let's get to it. The first person we are reading for today, as I mentioned, is Per. I just read the list, Bella. It's Per, Sophie, Julia, Ella, and Stella. Absolutely. Excellent. I got you, and we're doing a dream. I'm going to pin up Per here, but before we get started on Per's dream, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the Animal Oracle card here. We're going to count back from 10, and when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the hawk. We'll do that again after the next reading. And so just a note to anybody who gets on the list right now, we're going to do our best to honor anyone who gets on the list right now, but we are doing a time permitting list right now. So if you get on the list right now, there is a possibility that your reading will be either today or tomorrow. So just be mindful of that if you choose to get on the list right now. Excellent. I'm going to be pulling up here. Let's see. That dream. One moment. One moment. Perfect. Excellent. All right, where were we? And I am pulling up Per's dream here. Excellent. All right, let's get to it. You guys know what we do before we do a dream. We've got the dream coconut out. Interesting. Okay. Outside tea. There was an additional live in the dream space last night with a collective read. It was just as real as the daily lives, and I was watching it on my phone. I can't remember exactly what you were telling in the collective read. There were lots of different messages in the chat space that I could read. All I remember is that I posted "grrr" in the chat space, referring to something you've said. There was another individual in the collective that was in the dream space, and they responded, "When Per posted "grrr," my dogs went off." Amazing. All right, can I please get 4 cards, please? Oh, they're sticking to the bottom. They're all from the bottom, and thank you so much. Can I get one more, please? Oh, okay. We're gonna do 5 here because that one just like popped in. Surprise! Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what we're identifying here, um, what we're basically identifying is working into the observation of, I want to describe, it's like the opposite. It's like the dream is like the opposite of shadow work is the best way I can describe it. Right? Because it's working into, um, it's working into the context of, how do I describe this best? It's working into the context of being able to recognize and identify, or working into, a mind, like a state of being. Okay? So the understanding of working into a state of being is often the observation of of navigating a circumstance or situation by which your your understanding of the quality and condition of what of the healing that we effectively do allows for that healing journey to energetically grow or expand, right? And so the best way I can describe this is that when we know another, right? When we know another deeply, right? Then often it's the state or nature by which we don't necessarily need to have a conversation with an individual to know what their advisement point would be, right? It's that observation of being able to effectively articulate, right? Like it's the conversation that you feel like you have, right? Like in terms of recognizing, and you'll often notice this, right? You'll often notice this in the form or the shape of those that you care about, right? When you energetically care about someone, sometimes when you're thinking about when you're going through something, you don't necessarily need to talk to that person because you have a good sense, right? You have a good sense of where their own mind will be upon it, right? And so this is what we see is happening in the dream space, which is why you're arriving to that space by which you're potentially finding, right? You're finding that that beautiful, like that gift of an additional reading in your own dream space, because the gift of a reading that you're finding in your own dream space is the ability of understanding that you connect enough to me that your mind is effectively bringing something to it, right? And in the space by which I wouldn't be surprised if that dream was you potentially positing a question in that reading that was directed towards you, which is why you said grr, okay? And this is what's so important about it, right? Because that grr is important, right? Because the grr is the identification of not something that we want to hear, which would be a purr, right? It's not something to make oneself it's not something to make oneself feel good, right? It's not about making oneself feel good, right? Even in the dream space, okay? Even in the dream space, right? Even in the dream space, I'm telling you something that is good for you, right? And often when we hear something that is good for us, there's usually a little bit of a grr attached to it. Okay. the gur that we're navigating, right? That gur is why you can tell that it comes from a place of love, right? Because the gur is potentially hearing something, right? That is frustrating, but also that feels in alignment to you, right? It's working into, it's a gur that's for the sense of your purr, right? It's a gur that's in the sense of your purr because it's the identification point and the recognition, the observation of what you are identifying is energetically important, right? And that's the quality of you identifying and recognizing my energetic signature in your dream space, right? Because, and here's the funny part about it, if it was shadow work, it probably, right, if it was shadow work, it probably would have effectively felt more like a purr, right? Because it wasn't necessarily doing something, it was just making you feel good. But the healing is going to effectively, right, it's going to bring something up, right? It may stir something up within us because that is the work that we identify that helps us to be able to recognize and identify what it is that we're working to. And this was further communicated in the state by which you had another individual in the collective articulate and stated that when you said "gur," right, their dogs went off, right, because it was the feeling, right. You have to understand bottom of the deck on this, okay. And I just want to stress, you got two more cards coming out on this, so I need to read them because the deck came out and these are two angelic cards, right? Those two, yeah, that's the energy, particularly with the Nine of Pentacles here in its reversal, right? The energetic shift of me articulating something in the dream space that felt, right, that brought something up emotionally, and it affected your energy enough. And this is just showing you the fact that energy is real, that the dogs, right, that the dogs that were in the space by which the dogs can, like, dogs are have, like, can hear frequencies that we don't hear, right? So the dogs, even another individual's dogs, detected the shift and they went off, right, because they were feeling energetically protective of you, right, because they could sense the fact that something that I articulated stirred something up within you, right? Now the two cards, as I was literally drawing upon that, we had two more cards that came up. And I will point out, like, as I was reading on it, like, all these cards, I have to go pick up like my deck now because now there's cards all over the floor. But these are the two cards that were stuck on the table. So we're gonna read into them. We've got, yeah, like, we've got here, right? We've got our star card in combination with the Ace of Wands, right? And this is basically what we identify and we work upon when we're building into alignment, right? It's not easy, right? Alignment is not about what's easy. It's about working through what is energetically necessary. So we see that there's a lot of that I love these two cards in combination because these are coming through in the form of your guide, right? Because that guide, right? I don't know if there's been a space by which you've been questioning your own feelings about things, but the observation of being able to recognize and identify the quality and condition by which we effectively arrive to things is being able to recognize the impact of our own energy, right? So this is also working into the context of recognizing and identifying the state and nature of that energy, because the fact that you could feel, right, the quality and condition by which you were feeling like something was shifting within you was enough by which someone around you was able to energetically detect it, right? that observation of energetic alignment that effectively comes to the forefront, that is often articulating upon that state or nature by way of recognizing the impact of your own frequency. So this is you coming into awareness of your own energy through the work that we're doing in this energetic collective, and also recognizing and understanding the feeling, right? The feeling, the feeling of being energetically stirred, right? But that's like that work that effectively comes through, that allows you to be able to effectively heal even further. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, dear. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. I will point out we are putting individuals on the list today for tomorrow. So if you would get on the list today, I will do my best to read for you, but there is a possibility that you'll be added to tomorrow's list. It is 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Absolutely. Oh, are you kidding? Avatar, 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 Avatar. Um, okay. You're not, yeah. I would be, if you want to have a reading on that, I'd be like, let me, like, absolutely. I'm very curious to see what you mean by that. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Absolutely. I was telling the truth instead of sugarcoating. Well, that's what I did. That sounds very me. That sounds very me. Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, in terms of, I mean, like, the thing that you have to understand is the work that we effectively do in the dream space as it relates to shadow work is being able to understand like why it's coming through, and that's what we try to do here, right? The recognition of understanding that our dreams are trying to help us heal things, right? And sometimes when we're trying to heal things, right, we have to see the state and the nature of the wound that we're carrying, right? It's not easy, but it's necessary. Absolutely. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to read for that dream, dear. Thank you as well, Avatar. And Dada, thank you for sharing the live. Always appreciate when you guys share the live. All right, let's continue right now. The next person we're reading for today. Hold on, before we continue, let me pick up this deck. But the next person we're reading for today is Sophie. If Sophie's here, Sophie, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. I'll be right back. Gotta get these cards. Okay. Okay. I got them. All right. It's really interesting though that, like, even in the context by which we talked about that, right? The cards themselves are upset when I was drawing upon them. Interesting. Very interesting, Avatar. All right. If Sophie is not here, then the next person we are reading for today is going to be Julia. Julia, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. Excellent. Second call right now for Sophie or Julia. Second call right now for Sophie or Julia. How you doing today, Moko and Last? Princess, I gotta point out, I don't think I've seen you here before, but you're making the choice to be here and to throw judgment upon what you're seeing here. Your presence here is a choice, and the energy that you put forth into the world is often what you receive back. So I'm just bringing that forward to you to ask, like, in terms of what you're effectively looking for. I can't help you in that context as it relates to working through those feelings of self-esteem. But I want you to kind of recognize that holding compassion for yourself as it relates to the value and the weight of your opinion is one by which you recognize that your words are precious. And so if you're going through any pain right now, I want you to start putting that pain, instead of insulting others, try bringing some compassion back to yourself. I hope that helps, and I wish you a better day. Donna, I'm sending you so much support on your journey, dear. I hope that something that you find here today helps you through whatever it is that you are experiencing. Absolutely. Welcome from South Africa. How are you doing today, Riger? If I'm ever saying your name incorrectly, by all means, please feel free to correct me. Really? That's wild, Antonia. How are you doing today, Shub? Yep. Welcome. Joe's, in terms of your anxiety right now, I want you to just reaffirm to yourself and say you're safe within yourself, right? You're never safe within, you're always safe within yourself, right? Allow that to try to help you if you're experiencing it. I will point out this energy right now, like it's a combination of Neptune and Saturn in retrograde. It can do a number on those that carry a lot of anxiety. Oh, Julia's back. Perfect. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Oh, thank you for being here, Numbwary, as well. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Wait, in the dream space? Yeah. Okay, we'll get into it. How you doing today, Julia? Yep. Absolutely. Okay, Julia, if you're here, can you respond in all caps and let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to read for? And while we wait for Julia's question, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. Mm-hmm. Hold on, I gotta take some notes for a minute. Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. All right. All right, let's get to it. All right, we're doing an outside tea for Julia. You don't have to apologize, dear. Welcome. And just a reminder to anybody who would like to get on the list today, if you get on the list today, I'll do my best to read for you. However, there's a possibility that you will be moved to tomorrow. So the list is open with that note. Valerie, I was still waiting for you to provide I need you to give me the letter, just the letter where you sent the donation so I can confirm your space on the list. So if you can just give me the letter on where you sent the donation, I'll be happy to confirm your spot on the list. For Julia's read, I've got the Animal Oracle card here. We're going to count back from 10. And when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the air dragon. We'll do that again after the next reading. Perfect. I'm still waiting for that initial, Valerie. As soon as you give me the initial, I'll confirm your spot on the list. Okay. Let's see here. I've got you up, Julia. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I got you, dear. Mm-hmm. Thank you for confirming, Valerie. Mm-hmm. Just bear with me one moment before we continue with your reading, Julia. Okay. Oh, that's really interesting. Yep. You know, I'm going to have to ask Valerie that you send a screen cap. I've looked in I've looked in the location that you articulated, and I'm not seeing I'm not seeing a donation that went through. So if you could just reconfirm, I would appreciate it. Okay. Now, getting back to Julia's reading. Thank you. Can I get 4 cards for Julia, please? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. Um, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you the energetic. Like I'm gonna show you the read on something, and I feel like it's gonna tell you everything you need to know about the energy. Um, okay. These 3 here don't want to rock a boat. Okay. This is like, especially if there's any kind of energy of 3 around something, this type of energy is absolutely terrified of doing anything. You can't get anywhere with terrified energy, right? You can't get anywhere with terrified energy. So what basically is happening here, right? Like it's giving me some kind of energy of all bark. I'm getting here like all bark and no right. Right? All bark and no right would be basically the understanding of energy that likes to, that's trying to articulate that they're doing their due diligence, right? Ugh. Ugh. Ew. Ew. It's giving due diligence, right? It's giving due diligence, by which they want to say to somebody, oh, we pursued something, but we decided, right? We pursued something, but we decided, like, it's like yeah, like we pursued something, but we decided to go in a different direction, so that way, I keep on getting, so that way they could put on their ledger that they're putting some kind of effort in doing something beneficial. Bleh. Yuck. I hate reading for it. I'm not, I'm reading, I'm literally reading for energy, right? I keep on getting, they wanted something to put in their ledger in relation to being able to identify that they're making moves in the direction of things that are beneficial, but it's slow, right? It's slow. It's slow to grow something. So this type of energy is like, it's like the cringiest of cringe is what I'm getting, because it's about, like, it's about gestures, right? It's about, like, it's about them being able to tell another person that they're pursuing something but not actually doing anything, right? It's a lot of that. So I want you to be conscientious about it, because and I'm going to just show you your energy around it. Right? Like here you are putting your pedal to the metal to a certain extent, right? There you are being like, well, we can allow this to occur, like this is something like this, and so I want you to be conscient, like, it's saying to me, they're like, and I think that you understand this, they're gonna revise and revise and revise something until they anesthetize it, right? Like, it's like I keep on hearing revise and revise and revise until it's anesthetized, right? So I want you to be conscientious about that, because um, it says to me a lot of it is coming out of fear, right? If there's anything I would say about energy like this, especially if there's three, like, look, like this energy is is terrified, right? It's a type of energy that's actually potentially terrified in doing anything different than what's being done. So that I keep on getting, remember, bottom of the deck on this, nothing is lost, right? Anything that you've done here is still yours. So identifying and recognizing and working through something to the extent that your ability to identify and recognize um, what feels right. Like, it's interesting too, because I feel like I literally see you in the process of moving into new energetic experiences, and um your like your ability to articulate upon um when you need to know something, right? Like, it says to me that I feel like it's almost a conversation that you have with someone that says, like, I recognize that there's a lot there, but this is when, like, I recognize there's a lot there, but this is when something needs to move forward, or this is when something needs to energetically occur. And your ability to identify and articulate upon what that is, basically allowing the context of that energetically coming into a point of fruition. So just being conscientious about it and recognizing and identifying what that means, like it's saying even here, you know, like it's you being able to articulate and identify to another, not only what that prioritization point is, but how you're working to invest upon it and anticipate into it. So there's a lot of that energy that I'm potentially seeing there. Um, Nothing, I keep on seeing something about that. I feel like it is like whatever you've created, it's going to come into being, just not in that space, right? Like it's saying don't be hopeless about it. Remember, it's still there. You're just looking for the right home for it. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, Julia. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is, we're basically having a list right now for tomorrow. And if you want to get on that list, you will be the first person read for. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Valerie, I really appreciate you doing that. I'm checking right now. Mm-hmm. Okay, can you please confirm where you sent it? Because I haven't seen anything sent. All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly the energy I felt. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I hope this helps, right? Because it says to me, like, it feels like the conversation that you have with them is being able to identify like what they're actually comfortable with is important. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Oh, sending you so much support, dear. I want to point this out, Juliet. We never look to the tarot to make our decisions for us. We look to them for guidance. So the ability by which you can identify or articulate, like the one thing I want to point out is, I feel like what I was basically seeing there is having a conversation with someone about the difference between what they're seeking in terms of a role with you, whether they're seeking something that is owned by you or if they're seeking the space by which you're consulting upon it. Because that's what I keep on getting, right? You being able to say, do you want me to give you my feedback in relation to what you guys clearly want to do, because this isn't what the direction that I'm effectively recommending. So that conversation, like allowing it to be the understanding of how how your role is potentially shifting away from what they may have articulated they first asked of. I hope that helps, dear. I believe so. I'm just going to tell you again. I'm going to double check. Valerie, I've looked at my records for the place that starts with a P, and I'm not seeing that donation having gone through. If you would like to email me the receipt of it going through on your end, then I would be happy to investigate what's going on there. You can send me the screen cap. You can send me the screen cap of the what you sent. You can send it to Gray Strega at the mail that starts with a G. Okay? And if I when I receive that, I will investigate to see why it's not appearing on my end. But I all I can do is tell you what I'm seeing, and I'm trying to communicate to you that I'm looking over on my end. You're just telling me that a payment was sent, but I'm not seeing that payment on my end. If you want to get on the list, you're welcome to do so, but we're creating the list for tomorrow currently. So we're going to do the daily collective. And if we have time for readings, I'm going to honor as many readings as I can, time permitting. So if you get on the list today, there is a possibility that you'll be read for today, but there's also the possibility you'll be read for tomorrow. I hope that helps. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Excellent. Let's continue right now. Sending you so much prayer on that journey, Julia. All right, let's continue. The next person we're reading for today is Ella. Ella, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And as I mentioned, friends, the list is open for tomorrow. So if you want to get on the list for tomorrow, if you'd like to secure a spot, you'll be read for before the daily collective begins. It is 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers, Pinks in my Lio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I don't read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. And continuing right now for Ella's reading, we are going to be doing a dream interpretation. Let me just post it up here. Excellent. And before we get started on Ella's reading, how you doing today, butterflies? Oh, I hope you're having an absolutely beautiful day. Readers supporting readers, I hope you're having a great day, dear. How you doing today, David? And thank you, Daniela, for those hearts. Pawan, you were saying that I want to point out to her, in your reading, an individual on the place where we keep the videos was identifying that they were hearing a weird noise, which is very interesting. Oh, interesting. Thank you, Only. How you doing today, Ryan? Excellent. All right, let's continue right now. And as I mentioned before we get started on Per's reading, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the animal oracle cards here. We're going to count back from 10. And when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10. How you doing today, Billy? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the wolf. We'll do that again after the next reading. Mm-hmm. What do we have here? And we are doing a dream interpretation, and you guys know what that means when we're doing a dream interpretation. Got the dream coconut here. Ooh, that was a nice one. Excellent. All right, let's get to it. Outside tea. In the dream, I see my uncle with my mom to the left of him, motioning to her to make sure I see her there. They are both on the other side. This was a couple of nights ago. Myself and his son were getting tons of messages, completely beyond normal in number of sequences in our waking life. They themselves working through, both you and them are very, very creative by nature. In yesterday's meditation, you saw them there again, but standing together at a pedestrian intersection inside what looked to be fairgrounds. I love the fair. And my mother was holding a row of something and smiling right at me. It looked like rainbow colors, and I got the number 7. So maybe 7 colors. Writing on the containers, so they were writing something on containers, but called out, someone was writing something on containers and called out for my mother, and I woke up. But it felt very encouraging. Can I get an energetic read on what these messages are trying to relay to us? Absolutely. Can I please get I'm going to pin up Ella here. I got it. Yeah. 4 cards, please. I mean, the message is basically coming through is, and the wild thing about it, oh my gosh. Okay. So it's very important to pay attention to the environment by which you're seeing individuals in spirit, right? Because what you're basically identifying there is you've got 2 guides showing up, right? And I've got the 2 guides here, right? They showed up in this reading. All right? And you have to understand that you recognized the fact that not only are you receiving these messages, but you identified that there was someone else close to you who was also receiving them as well. And what you have to basically identify is the observation of what you saw in terms of the fact that you saw that there was a intersection inside of what you identified to be fairgrounds. All right. And the thing that you have to recognize when that occurs, or when you're seeing something of that nature there, is you identified that your mother was in spirit holding something, and they were smiling right at you. And you said that whatever they were holding were rainbow colors, right? Because it's basically them communicating that they're energetically proud of you, right? They're proud of you for holding your composure in the wake of others, right? Trying to effectively make you feel less of yourself, right? Because it's the observation of what others are energetically doing. And you identified and recognized that you articulated upon the fact that there were containers, right? That you said were being called out for when right before you woke up, because they're basically articulating to you that they recognize the fact that another person, right? That another person is trying to energetically trivialize you, right? Which is why they see you, why you're finding them at the fair, right? Don't let another person trying to trivialize you move you away from you being who you know yourself to be, right? Being able to find the energetic strength in your own sense of self. And the fact that you saw the fact that they were putting it in containers was them saying, don't worry about it, they're taking care of it, right? They're identifying, they're articulating to you the fact that anyone that would try to trivialize you is being energetically contained, because it's the observation, right? It's the observation that you would never even dream or deem, right? You would never dream or deem to do something in that way, right? And that's why they were effectively what you saw that they were holding that looked so energetically beautiful, right? What you saw that was rainbow, that was so beautiful, that they were holding, but you were having a hard time seeing it, that was you. That's how you appear to them. I mean, that's how you appear to them. That's how you appear to them in that energy, right? Like that was them showing you that you are their rainbow, right? Like that was them showing you how you appear to them, that in the world, right? In a world of others concentrating on the wrong things, right? Right? They're aware of how painful that is, because they identify the fact that they're holding you closely, because they're trying to remind you how energetically precious you are, right? And the fact that even though you might not be able to see or experience them, they're still holding, they're still energetically holding you. They're still energetically protecting you. And the reason that you heard, and the 7 points that you saw were all of the points within the self, right? And the space by which you identified that when you woke up because you heard somebody articulating about something being contained, right? That containment point was them taking care of it, right? They're saying, don't worry, don't worry yourself, don't worry your head on someone that's trying to hurt you or try to trivialize you or demean you in that way, because they see it too, right? Bottom of the deck, right? Don't let another person's cruelty, like don't let another person's cruelty affect how you feel about yourself, right? Because they were showing you, right? They were showing you, even in that space, how beautiful you appear to them. To them, they see you as, right? Your mother was holding that rainbow because that is her holding you, right? Even in spirit, and the energy of the uncle that's connected to you, right? They were both being able to effectively communicate that to you. And also, I would not be surprised, because here's the thing about it. The individual that you identified as an artist, was that their father? Was that their father that you saw beside them? Right? Because what they're doing, right? What they're doing is they're saying hello to both of you. They see both of you like that. They see both of you like that is the best way I can describe it. That's why they're getting this. The guides like to be very efficient. Okay, the guides like to be very efficient when they're sending messages, right? Like they like to be very efficient. So we see those guides navigating that efficiency in terms of the fact that they're moving towards both of you with the same message, which is basically saying like they you're you like they're looking out for both of you, and don't care what others say, because they see what they see the work you're doing as absolutely beautiful. So thank you so much for having that reading with me. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. And if I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as it was reading. Let's see here. I mean, it's interesting, like you have to point out, and this is what I mean about those who are not connected to spirit. And this is what I mean about not messing with people. And I think it's interesting because Nikki, I think you mentioned that it felt ominous because you have to understand when, like, if another person's messing with you and somebody in spirit is holding you as their rainbow, right? Like, how do you think that energy appears to the person that's trying to hurt that individual? What are you doing to my rainbow? Right? Like that's, like, what are you doing to my rainbow? It's like that's how it, like that's why there was a wake up point when you heard about the containing energy. Okay. Like, I don't I don't know why people do these things to themselves. Oh my gosh. Just be nice. Okay. I'm gonna take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And thank you, Article, for the follow. Yeah, so you both are like you're both going through it, right? So the fact that you're confirming that you're both going through similar experiences, right? Like this is spirit articulating to you that they're with you every step of the way. You know? Absolutely. Yeah, and that's the thing about it, right? Which is them identifying and saying to you, right? Like that's them reaffirming how much they energetically care about you because they know, right? They know the things that bring you joy, right? They recognize them and they identify them, and so they're effectively working towards them. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for confirming that was their father. So we're doing a prioritized list right now, Tail. So I've got a short amount of time today. So we're doing those who are prioritized, and then we're going to be doing the daily collective. So I'm going to read for as many as I can before we have to sign off for today. So if you get on the list, you might have to be postponed till tomorrow. So I'm just stating that to anybody who wants to get on the list today. There's a possibility that you'll be added to tomorrow's list. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's because, but what they're saying is you guys like what like the guides are saying that they want you to be supporting each other more, right? Like that's what you're identifying there. That's what you're identifying there with the 7 and the 2, right? Like they're trying to make you guys aware about how, like, they're trying to make you aware about how, like, connected you guys both are, right? Because they're identifying. That's why you got a 7 and 2 there, because spirit sees you. Spirit sees you very much as kin, right? Yeah. Rainbow. Rainbow was like, did somebody say rainbow? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because this is them affirming your spiritual kinship. Mm-hmm. You're so welcome, Ella. I hope that helps. Absolutely. And welcome, Michelle. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's wild, Ella. That's beautiful. Excellent. Oh, thank you, Daniela. I do my best here. Midnight, the list is closed today. Well, the list, we're keeping a list for those who'd like to get on the list for tomorrow. It's 3 cards for 29. For those who are non-subscribers, 4 cards for 23. And anyone who's a paid member always has a free card each day. Mm-hmm. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do my best, Daniela. All right, let's continue right now. All right, the next person we're reading for today is Stella. Stella, if you're here, can you respond? Oh, that's beautiful, Rainbow. Oh, congratulations to them. The next person we're reading for today is Stella. Stella, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And while we wait for Stella's question, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the animal oracle cards here. We're going to count back from 10. And when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the dog. We'll do that again after the next reading. How you doing today, Janae? Good to see you. Welcome. Well, that's the thing about it. They're articulating to you, Ella, that they consider you, like, they consider you, they're identifying you as carrying on their legacy. Absolutely. Let's continue right now. All right. Let's see here. And I just need to pull up Stella's question, so just bear with me. Okay. See why it's not showing up on my end. Let's see here a minute. Thank you for sending that over, Valerie. I'm confirming now. I'm going to try to get to understand why I'm not seeing it on my side. Oh, there it is. Valerie, I see it now. If you're still here, Valerie. Thank you for sending that. Absolutely. Hold on a minute. Just bear with me a moment. One moment. Perfect. Excellent. Let's continue. All right, I've got you here, Stella. All right. Okay. I've got you, dear. Oh, I appreciate that, Daniela. Okay. And before we continue with Stella's reading, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the animal oracle cards here. Oh, wonderful, Valerie. I appreciate that. I'm also, listen, thank you for your patience. You'll be getting, I'm giving you 2 additional cards in your reading. Okay? Thank you for that. I really appreciate you confirming. I've got the animal oracle cards here. We're going to count back from 10. And when we get to 1, I will, no, thank you. I really appreciate it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm just laughing at Purrs. I'm laughing at Purrs. I'm laughing because Purrs said a water animal, and I'm like, ah. All right, let's continue. I mean, it's interestingly though, there is, I need to point out though, I just want to point this out, Per. There is water in this car. All right, let's get to it. All right, where are we? Mm-hmm. How you doing today, Dream? Thank you for the compliment, Paul. How you doing today, Tobias? All right, can I get 2 more cards, please? 2 more cards, please, for Stella. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to just tell you, I'm going to pin up Stella here. Guys, make sure to give Stella some love. Where'd Stella go? Mm-hmm. So the best thing I can describe that I'm seeing here, the best thing I can describe that I'm seeing is working into the context of it's identifying and recognizing. Remember how I articulate it? It's interesting that you also asked for an angelic message, because I think that you'll recall that we identified, like when we read for into this energy, we identified the fact that there was something going through, like, remember how I articulated that I saw an angelic that was trying to communicate that they could not get through to another individual, that they had put themselves in such a miserable place that an angelic could not reach them, right? What we're basically observing that has occurred has to do with your intervention, right? Like your intervention, or your intervening in their experience required them to be honest in a way that they have never, in a way, I keep on hearing, in a way that another person wasn't able to be honest before, right? You it's almost like you forced honesty into a circumstance or situation. And I almost see somebody energetically connected to something, like experiencing it from a point of gratitude, because I keep on seeing that you effectively forced a conversation that needed to occur in relation to what another person would not energetically admit was happening. And so their observation, or their ability to articulate upon it, right, has gotten somebody, right? It's somebody who's potentially identifying and recognizing the fact that they have some kind of problem, right? Like that's all I just keep on seeing here, right? Like they're articulating and recognizing the fact that there was some kind of problem here, and their own, like their observation in understanding um the like I keep on hearing the quality and the condition by which another person has been able to express to them how they've been feeling. I literally see somebody who's going through a moment of devastation, right? They're going through a moment of energetic devastation. And I just keep on getting the emotional devastation that they're going through is being able to identify and recognize how another person has been feeling in the fact that they're effectively articulating, right? Like another individual articulating upon the fact that they themselves knew, right? They knew that they knew that they weren't being fully honest with them. And basically, like I see somebody trying to energetically pick up the pieces of a relationship that they recognize that they broke, right? Like a relationship, like I keep on seeing like some kind of observation of someone recognizing and identifying the fact that they have no one else to blame but themselves, in the context of identifying and recognizing the pain that they've been putting not only, I keep wondering, not only their counterpart through, but everybody else around them through. Because, and I keep on getting this, right? Like the observation of not doing anything, right? The observation of not doing anything in a way by which, like the observation, like I see somebody who's been observing that it's like almost like the observation of someone who's aware of the fact that they're basically broadcasting to those that they built a life around, that they desire to escape it, right? Like that is the shape of the pain I see somebody navigating, right? Like literally someone who's recognizing and identifying that is how those around them have been feeling. And that's what I kept on seeing in terms of in relationality to this becoming an angelic read. This is why I have some kind of angelic that feels in some way like they're thanking you, because it's interesting because it's not your angelic that's thanking you, it's their angelic that's thanking you, because the angelic that's thanking you is basically, right, like the angelic's thanking you because it's the energy you've given them the opportunity to be aware, right, to become energetically aware of how others have been feeling about it, right? There's like, it's like saying to me, there's honesty that's arrived in that context, and that honesty is painful, right? Like I see the energy that's working through the pain of it, but it's them taking acknowledgement of the fact that they're responsible for it. So this is why I was getting the message of someone who effectively wishes you the best, right? Because I see somebody who is fully understanding, right? Like it says to me, like it feels to me like somebody who's wishing you the best because they're fully starting to comprehend the pain that they caused you in relation to how they effectively like how they effectively did not protect your innocence, but rather irrevocably damaged it, right? Because like I just keep on seeing that this is almost like it's almost like this energy understanding or feeling the context of recognizing, right? Because they're arriving to being able to see the pain that all of those have been quietly holding instead of effectively articulating it to them. Sending you so much support on that journey, dear. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is closed today, but you can get on the list for tomorrow, which means you'll be the first person read for. You'll have priority, which means you'll be read for before we start the daily collective. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Happy Wednesday, Janae. Good to see you. Excellent. Sending you support on those feelings, Rainbow. Excellent. Thank you, Valerie. You're next up. Definitely not a water animal. Absolutely. Oh, thank you for also receiving that message, Valerie. Oh, that's beautiful, Rainbow. That's such a good name for a pet. Okay. All right, let's continue right now. The next person we are reading for today is Valerie. Valerie, if you could let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. Oh, that's very kind of you to say, Catch. How you doing today, A? Good day to you. Dream. Excellent. Okay, so the list is closed today. We're going to be doing 1 cards for those who are paid members and for those who are super fan. But if you'd like to get on the list for tomorrow for a full reading, it's 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers. I'll also point out though that we don't look to the tarot to determine what we should do so much as getting advice on what we are on what we're choosing to do, right? We never put our autonomy in the cards in that way. I hope that helps. I'm so glad to hear that you've been successful on your healing journey, Laura, and sending you continual support on that journey. Excellent. All right, where are we right now? Valerie, if you could let me know if you'd like. Oh, I got you, dear. I see your question there. I got you, dear. Excellent. All right, let's continue right now. Before we continue with Valerie's reading, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. All right. I've got the animal or and Marilyn, I'm afraid I'm not sure what you're communicating, dear. In terms of if you're seeking a reading, but I'm sending you so much support on your journey right now. All right, we're going to come back from 10, and when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I know what card you're talking about, Rainbow. 1. We've got the goose. Thank you guys for participating. We'll do it again after the next reading. The list, Dixie, today is closed. We will be doing 1 card readings for Superfam and paid members. Or if you want to get on the list for tomorrow, you'll have priority, which means we read for before we start the daily collective. Okay. All right. And I'm going to pin you up here. And I'm going to draw some extra cards here. 4 cards for Valerie, please. 4 cards for Valerie. Thank you. And 2 more. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow, this is so many wands. Oh my goodness. Um I feel like what I'm observing here feels, I feel like I see some, I don't want to turn this, into a medical reading. I really don't. But I will tell you that whoever I'm reading into right now, they carry a lot of anxiety. They've been through a lot. They've been through a lot of trauma. And the thing about it is when we've been through a lot of trauma, it can make it we become very, very anxious when we feel vulnerable. Like I literally see a situation where someone was deep, like has a really, really deep trust wound. And I would even articulate, like, I don't even need you to expound to me upon the nature of it, because I feel like even in that space, like that's what I'm talking about. Right? Like the observation of working through the context of another individual, basically, like another individual basically sparing no expense to articulate to others everything, right? You know, and the thing about it is, like, it says to me, like, the energy is mortified to a certain extent, right? Like, that's what I keep on getting, and I'm not sure why, but like I feel like I see somebody, right, who it's weird, like the best way I can describe it is, I don't know if there's a connection point, you know, I don't know if there's a connection point between, like, some kind of familial connection between you and them, but it's them, like, it's hard to effectively communicate to you because in some way it feels like you're in the blast radius of navigating through like another person, like not being like another person, like articulating upon things that feel energetically like I keep on getting um pain, like it's giving me the energy of someone like really, like it's a private person, right? It's a private person. When somebody's energetically private and another person, like it's like, you see, like that's all this goose energy here, you know what I mean, right? Which is saying to me that there's like a lot of energy around them that they feel is constantly talking about them instead of talking to them. And so I feel like in some way, this has, and I know this has nothing to do with you and them, right? I literally see you understanding something profoundly, right? Because I feel like in some way you go through it too. But um I think that what we're basically like what I'm seeing here, right, is and it's hard because it almost says to me, like it says to me, somebody who's afraid to talk to you because they don't know who's been in your ear, is the best way I can describe it, right? And here's the thing about it, you did not create those situations, right? And I don't know why, but like it almost, it says like the best way thing I can describe, and I'm going to put it this way, okay? I'm going to put it this way, and I think you're going to understand what I'm talking about, okay? Unhealthy energy, right? Unhealthy energy will reach out to another person and say, hey, I'm concerned about someone, right? And in the space by which they identify that they're concerned, they try to mortify someone away from another, right? That type of unhealthy energy, right? The unhealthy energy that tries to articulate the fact that they're being nice and they're concerned. And then in the process of trying to identify that they're concerned, they try to mortify another away from an individual, right? Like someone who's had that type of mortification where another person tries to identify, right? Tries to identify that they're only doing something from the place of a healthy heart space, but you recognize that there's nothing healthy about it because that energy is obsessed, right? That energy is obsessed. And in the space by which they're mortifying, what they're really articulating is the fact that they're identifying the quality and condition by which they're trying to mortify another person away from someone in order to energetically damage a connection. So I feel like that is the type of energy that I potentially see around someone. And so that's why I feel like it's hard for them to talk to you, because it says to me, like that's what I keep on hearing when I'm reading for this. Someone going, who's been in your ear about me? Right? Because that is whoever's been in your ear, and I'll just point that out. Whoever's been in your ear has been traumatizing that person their whole life, right? Whoever's been in your ear, right? Whoever's been in your ear articulating the fact that they're concerned about someone, that is the person you have to be wary of, right? Because that is the energy that's trying to pry into, right? That is the energy trying to pry into another person's life by trying to articulate the fact that they're energetically harmless. But what they're really doing is they're trying to violate that person's boundaries in relationality to what they feel that they'd aspire to be private about. So I feel like in terms of that, it's hard because when you're navigating a situation, that's how that's what I was basically seeing there. It feels like somebody who feels like somebody else damaged a relationship that they had with you, right? They feel deeply like someone damaged a relationship that they had with you by trying, by either you, by one or you, right? Another person trying to mortify the relationship by trying to identify the fact that they were coming from a place of care, but what they were really trying to do is making another person wary of another individual, right? So it feels like that's what I keep on seeing around it, right? Because and I feel like whatever that I'm identifying there, right? The the best thing you can do, like when you're working through the context of that, is being able to identify and articulate upon the observation of helping another person understand that, and here's the thing about it, you can't even, like, when a situation like that's happening, if anything I'm reading here is what you've experienced through that, your observation of being able to articulate or identify to another the quality and condition by which you yourself are working through things, then that observation or that arrival point is basically like the best thing you can do is helping another person understand that your care is not impacted by another person's projections, right? But even in the context by which that's occurring, sometimes, sometimes even talking about it makes it harder because it's in the context, it's in the context of like being able to be protective enough by not even not even letting it be the source of conversation, but rather just allowing for the context of doing something in a steadfast fashion that helps you to identify, right, like the amplification of care in terms of what is supportive and necessary, while similarly and simultaneously working through, you know, like there's not even me articulating this, it's hard because there's very little that you can do to energetically reassure someone, right? Like they have to find that point of reassurance. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, dear. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is closed today, but you'll have priority, which means you'll be the first person we read for. You'll be read for before we start the daily collective tomorrow. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and thank you for I know, thank you for confirming that you knew exactly what I was reading into. Yeah, absolutely. Ugh. I mean, why would they open up to? It's hard to open up in that way when another person is inadvertently mortifying you, right? Because that's the whole point. Like they don't want to open up about it, and another person is opening up about it everywhere. Yeah. Thank you for also connecting to this message, Nabuere. Mm-hmm. Thank you for confirming, and thank you for the follow, Dixie. I'm sending you so much support on that journey as well, Mighty. But I need to point this out. Healthy energy, I need to point out, healthy energy, no energy can sabotage a healthy connection. Like when you recognize and understand the quality and condition of what another person is navigating, then it's not the quality or condition by which one is effectively moved away from it. It's being able to understand and allow that to fortify upon one's own energetic position. Yeah, I know it's heavy. Sending you support, Valerie. Dixie, if you want to have a private reading with me, all you need to do is you can book one on my site. But you can also message me directly. Okay? Absolutely. You can book all of that on my site. Mm-hmm. And Daniela, thank you for those gifts as well. All right. Let's continue right now. We have reached the conclusion of those who have priority, so we're going to get started on our daily collective. As I mentioned, the list is closed today, but if you'd like to get on the list for tomorrow, you'll have priority. Once we finish the daily collective, I will be moving into one card readings. So, and before we get started on today's daily collective, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the animal oracle card here. We're going to count back from 10, and when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the fire dragon. We'll do it again after the next reading. And just a reminder to everyone joining us today, we've got 2 different giveaways that are happening right now for those who are here. The first reading giveaway is when we get to 50K likes, I will be gifting a reading back to the collective. So make sure you're tapping that screen. We'll get to 50K in no time. We're already at 25K. The other reading giveaway we're doing today is a reading giveaway for the highest gifter between now and the conclusion of the daily collective read. So I wish you a lot of luck if you are participating in that giveaway as well. And just a reminder, if you would like to get on the list for a reading, if you'd like to get on the list for a reading for tomorrow, you can do so today and you'll have priority for tomorrow, which means you'll be read before we get started on the daily collective. That said, no better time than the present. Why don't we? Oh, and thank you so much. How you doing today, Dirk? Oh, thank you so much, Truth. Excellent. That said, no better time than the present. Why don't we get started? Welcome, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Wednesday, August 5th, 2026. We are going to be doing a harmonic energy update today. We're going to get started on the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread. First 2 cards we are starting with today are our Devil card in its upright in combination with our 9 of Cups in its reversal. Let's talk a little bit about ominous energy, because the thing you have to recognize right now is we've got Saturn in retrograde. Okay, we got Saturn in retrograde, we've got Neptune in retrograde, and Chiron just went into retrograde. All right, this is just your daily reminder that can create the feeling of things being ominous. Okay, just being recognize and identify that to allow oneself to be able to move through things effectively. Specifically and particularly, let's understand why. Because Saturn, right? Saturn is working into the context of time. So we've already got that happening in Aries, right? The volatility and frustration that we often feel in relation to navigating through time. It can feel frustrating. However, the state or nature by which we are able to identify and articulate or move through something with a sense of healthy pacing allows for the adaptability and the understanding of moving through things with a sense of energetic perspective. And it's not easy when we're doing that work, because often when we're doing that work, it feels, right? It feels very difficult because we're building into the state or nature by which there's only so much time in order to energetically do things. At the same time, we also identify the fact that we also have Neptune in retrograde. And what do we identify with Neptune in retrograde? Neptune in retrograde can often build into the context of working through energetic feelings as it relates to the intensity or the force by which we effectively put upon things. So here we are, right? We've got the combination force of working through a lot of emotionality, right? Also in connectivity to the past. And where do we see all of this coming through upon? We identify that at the same time that we were already navigating all of that, Chiron has gone into retrograde. And Chiron has gone into retrograde in Taurus, right? Which is often talking through or working into the context of building into the state and nature of emotions as it relates to being able to identify and recognize the work of what we're energetically carrying or the pain that we feel is within. So, the positive the positive that we effectively identify in these contexts is it allows us, right? The beauty of building into energy of this nature is it allows the context of being able to heal further, right? That quality and condition by which we are able to energetically embrace upon things allows us to identify and recognize, right? The work that we effectively do or articulate as it relates to building into a sense of purpose. And so this is very important because what you'll remember is for those who are working through relationship right now, this is a culmination of the work that we effectively see has been occurring specifically and particularly in relation to those strength partnerships. And what were we identifying with those strength partnerships? It's working into the context or the understanding of being able to be energetically working through the observation of what it is that we ourselves are working to heal. But the hard part is when we're working to heal things, right? Old old triggers come up, right? Old emotions, old traumas often rise to the surface as we are effectively working through things. But here's the important thing. Our ability to recognize and identify, right? The quality and condition of what feels like it's energetically helpful, right? The quality and condition of being able to be directive in terms of what it is that we ourselves can identify helps us to be able to effectively heal further. But, and this is what often happens, right? The condition by which we are able to articulate to one another the weight of those emotions. The hard thing about it is, and I want to tell you right now with these strength relationships, and to remember, the strength relationships are the relationships that have been coming together since the time of that Taurus new moon in Taurus season up until the present, right? It's working into the observation of the fact that things are not easy, right? But it's not about when we are, it's the quality and condition that when we are working to create ease, right? It's never easy, right? Like it's working into what it takes to find and create ease, right? This is what we identify in terms of what we identify as warrior lessons, right? Like there you are, like when you see somebody who's the most peaceful person you've ever navigated, right? How is someone peaceful? They're perpetually wrestling, right? Like when another person comes across as peaceful, right? What one person observes as peace, another person is succeeding in terms of perpetually wrestling. When another person, right? When another person is potentially projecting frustration out upon the self, they may be feeling peaceful because they're projecting, right? So that observation of understanding that when we identify alignment, right? Alignment builds into our subliminity, because divine alignment is sublime. Because when we're working into alignment, then we recognize and identify the quality and condition by which we ourselves are able to navigate things with the observation of the sense of unified purpose. And so what we identify there, or what we're energetically working upon, is building into the context of being able to identify and recognize what feels energetically possible. And when we're working into that sense of possibility, right, we observe and we recognize and we identify the shape of energetic expansion. But it's not easy, right? It's never about the easement point so much as it is about working into the observation of what we ourselves are trying to articulate or define. So for energy and solitude right now, what that effectively I communicate is working into the context and the observation of navigating and working through energetic frustration, right? The quality and condition of navigating through emotions. But, and this is what these two cards say, right? When we are navigating through our emotions properly, there's a bridge on the other side of it, right? Because the bridge that we effectively create through navigating difficulty, right, allows us to be able to do something even better in the quality and condition upon what it is that we're experiencing, right? And this is what's beautiful about that, because, and this is why we articulate upon the quality and condition of navigating circumstances or situations when we are working towards something that is energetically positive, right? When we experience another person's negativity and projection, right? You hold, like in a way, you hold a point of sympathy towards it, because it's the observation of understanding that when you hold on to pain, right, then all you're creating is more pain. But when you take pain and you identify that there's something preferable to be done with it, then that is literally, like, that is the work that we do to build a better future. So this is what I identify with a lot of these relationships that are coming together right now. That observation of being able to work through something, but even in the context by which one is working through it, right? Feeling that sustainability point and arriving into that feeling of stabilization is what is basically permitting the conversation that allows for the expansion. But it's not easy, because for a lot of those relationships, it's the observation of being able to see one another clearly, and the observation of being able to see that creates a lot of emotionality. But even in the context by which that emotionality is there, we see that that is the energy that is building into, right? It's that expansion of possibility that allows for new things to occur. And this is bringing us into that magician card in its reversal, because the magician card in its reversal is referring directly towards those world partnerships. And the world partnerships were the relationships that were coming together between the time of that new moon in Taurus that we experienced in May, leading into the Capricorn new moon in Capricorn season that we experienced in January. And so, what do we effectively observe or recognize occurring in those experiences? For a lot of those experiences, it's the observation and the understanding of what feels energetically positive is working into the context of identifying and working through things, but not just in the context of working through things, but in the ability to effectively communicate to one another upon what feels energetically possible, positive and possible. So for those relationships, there's something very restorative that we potentially see is occurring. And for a lot of them, I need to point out there's a lot of old wounds that may be surfacing. But the old wounds that we see that are energetically surfacing have to do with experiences by which like an individual or a self, like, and I got to point this out for some of these world relationships. There's a lot of these world relationships right now that are healing. They're healing from retributionary partnerships. And what do I mean about retributionary partnerships? The quality and the condition of recognizing and identifying how easily they can effectively move through things, right? The quality, the observation of understanding that the simplification point in terms of how easily they can effectively navigate something that is problematic without feeling, right, without feeling that point of devastation in the fact that there was something problematic there. Like, there's a lot of this energy that is working through the stabilization of the relationship, and the quality that we see that those relationships are building are being able to give each other the gift of perspective, right? Because, and we often notice this, trauma, trauma often, right? Trauma often tries to override the perspective, right? Trauma often tries to articulate upon small things that have profound meaning, right? Like that's what we like that's what happens, right? Like, this is why we articulate upon the fact that trauma leads to a disordered mind. Because when we identify that trauma leads to a disordered mind, we understand that it's that quality and condition by which trauma will often look for the smallest thing to try to effectively come down hard on someone, right? So when we understand the quality and condition of being able to navigate things with a sense of perspective, the gift that these relationships are having are seeing how smooth, right? They're seeing how smooth things can be, even when are energetic issues, right? Like, it's immediate. It's like it's the immediate energetic flow state that occurs in relation to being able to work towards things in that way. So a lot of that work that we see, like, I feel like it's a welcome relief, but also in the context, like, I keep on getting a welcome relief that's bringing grief with it, right? Because in the moment by which they experience welcome relief, then they're recognizing and identifying, and they're seeing the shape of the trauma that they themselves are healing from. Now, this brings us to the energy deep within divine union right now. And those are the relationships. The relationships deep within divine union were those moon relationships. And the moon relationships were effectively coming together between the time of that new moon, between the time of that new moon in Capricorn, leading into the Uranus going retrograde that we experienced in early September. 2 cards, please. Queen of Cups in its reversal, as well as the Queen of Swords in its reversal. So what are we effectively recognizing and identifying there? For a lot of that energy, working through those circumstances and situations, the one thing I'm seeing with a lot of those moon relationships has to do with the observation of being able to build into a sense of healthy clarity. And even in the context of building into healthy clarity. It's the quality, the quality and the understanding of situations and circumstances that try to articulate or create a false sense of competition around things, right? Because the quality and condition, right? I keep on saying the quality and condition of creating situations that feel like they create a false sense of competition is the understanding of recognizing and identifying the absolute beauty, the beauty, right, of what it means to heal collectively, right? And this is what I think it's really beautiful that we're seeing this with the moon relationships, because those moon relationships, right? Those moon relationships are potentially going through conversations that they're navigating where they're recognizing that there's no limitation on what is good, right? There's no limitation on what is good. There is enough good for everyone, right? And when you recognize that there is enough good for everyone, then the modality of working through things arises into the observation, right? And I feel like that's the thing about it. I feel like with some of these moon relationships is they're focusing on they're focusing on positive outcomes. And when you're working on positive outcomes, right? You're not building into the context of energetic distraction, but rather you're allowing, right? You're allowing the context of the good that becomes inevitable, right? Because the inevitable good that we energetically arrive into is the observation or the point by which we are articulating and investing upon things in a way that we recognize are energetically or mutually, like it's working towards it's working towards the greater. It's like, and I'm not surprised to see this right now, right? Like those those moon relationships are effectively working towards the greater whole. And the reason we see that they're working towards that is because that observation, when you're working towards a greater whole and you see energy being like, oh, doesn't that bother you? Like, doesn't that get under your skin? Right? Then you notice that the energy that potentially tries like to energetically articulate or to express things, right, that feels like the source. Like you like when you identify, when you're working toward the greater whole and another person is effectively whispering upon things, right, then that is the context by which you're able to identify, right, you're able to identify the source of conformity. So a lot of that energy I keep on seeing applying healing in ways that are profound and beautiful through, right, through the articulation and expression of the energetic, like the energetic sympathy by which they're hoping to build something in a way that they haven't done before, right? There's a lot of that work that we see that feels like, and I want to point this out, like, look how beautiful this energy is that we're seeing in those moon relationships, right? It's the quality and the condition of being able to energetically arrive into circumstances or situations by which, right, the expression of feeling is there. And then in the expression of feeling, we see the arrival into energetic stabilization, right? A lot of that stabilization that occurs. Now, moving back towards the energy in separation, can I get two cards to clarify? Clarification between the Devil card and the Nine of Cups in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with the Eight of Cups in its reversal. And the Eight of Cups in its reversal identifies and articulates upon what we are working to energetically achieve, but not just in the context, by which we are working upon what it is that we're energetically working to achieve, but the ability of being able to be authentic in that energetic expression, right? Because there's something very powerful that we see that is occurring for a lot of the relationships that are facilitating or working through experiences like that. Because the quality and condition of understanding, right? The quality and condition of being in our authenticity, right? Only hurts another if they're not in their authenticity, right? That's all there is to it. There's only one circumstance or situation that creates the space by which another person being in their authenticity energetically impacts another, right? If another person is hurt by observing another person in their authenticity, then all it speaks upon is the fact that that individual is not in their authenticity, right? And it's hard because sometimes when we're going through that work, right, that observation is why we articulate and understand the quality and condition of what can be healed. Because there you'll see individuals that aren't in their authenticity. And what are they doing? They're obsessing over another person's authenticity, right? They're going, look at them, 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 how dangerous in their authenticity, how dangerous in their authenticity. And then you look at them and you go, why is that so bothering you so much? You're going, it's dangerous, it's dangerous. And going, why is it dangerous? Because it's reminding them that they're not in theirs, right? It's making another person perpetually aware of the fact that they're not in their authenticity. So when you recognize that, I feel like what I'm seeing there for a lot of those relationships that are working through strength is they're having conversations about how hard it is to be authentic. Because when you're being in your authenticity, right, prepare for others who aren't in their authenticity to be projecting on you like perpetually, like perpetual, like, oh good, like, oh, how you doing? I'm doing good, I'm very deep in my authenticity. Oh, you perpetual projection? Yeah, perpetual projection. Perpetual, like that's, it's like, yeah, that's what happens, right? And it's not fair. It's not fair. But when we become aware of it, we understand the reason, right? And when we understand the reason, then we can effectively are able to heal it more, because we're able to effectively identify and recognize all of the volatility that springs from others who are navigating a fear of being their authentic self. Now, for a lot of those relationships, I feel like the hard part for some of these relationships is working through experiences, either in solitude or building into the context with partner, about the fact that their authenticity does not hurt one another, right? That the observation that when we are in our alignment, right, and as long as our authenticity holds healthy standards, right, as long as our authenticity holds healthy standards, then there's nothing energetically wrong with being in our authenticity. But the quality and the condition wherein others or feel that they're energetically impacted by it, I feel like what's hard is there's a lot of work we see for some of these relationships, healing self-esteem in relationality to situations or circumstances that made another individual feel that there was something wrong with them being in their authenticity in the first place. So I feel like for a lot of those relationships, working through those healing journeys, they're not easy, but even in the context by which they're not working through the easement, right? They're understanding and recognizing, what feels, they're coming back into their confidence, right? This is why we identify that these are those strength relationships. Now, continuing between the Nine of Cups in its upright and the Magician in its reversal, can I get one card to clarify, please? we've got the Two of Swords in its reversal. Now, meanwhile, for those that are working through meanwhile, for those who are working through the world partnerships, I feel like a lot of things are picking up speed, right? Things are moving much more rapidly than one may have effectively expected. And the reason we see that some of that rapidity is happening there is because these are energies that are in alignment, right? They're in alignment in a way with energy that shares their same manifestation goals. So we see that that's alignment, refinement. And when things are aligned and refined, then things start moving more quickly, right? There's more of that rapidness that we see. But even working into the context of that rapidness, what we're basically identifying and recognizing is the state or nature by which the energy, even as they're feeling something moving swiftly, they're looking back upon places where things were slowed down in the past and they're understanding them more profoundly. And this brings us to the moon relationships, clarification between the Magician card in its reversal and the Queen of Swords in its reversal. One card, please. We've got here the Eight of Swords in its reversal. Now, this is really important for those moon relationships because the moon relationships, the thing I keep on seeing with these moon relationships is working through the observation and the understanding of building into the context of recognizing and identifying upon things that are effectively, I just keep on getting a good thing is a good thing is a good thing, right? And why do I keep on getting a good thing is a good thing is a good thing? Because when we are working into the state or nature by which we are effectively trying to identify and recognize and work towards things, then that ability, right? That ability of bringing, like and it's interesting too, because it's working through the quality and condition of understanding what it means when one is working in a sense of timeliness. I feel like it's very interesting for some of these moon relationships because working through the observation of Saturn in retrograde, I would not be surprised if those relationships are working on new efficiencies or new ways of doing things so that they can get more things done more effectively on a better timeline. And this brings us to the Queen of Swords in its reversal with the Queen of Cups in its reversal. Moving back into the energy that's in solitude, we've got here the Two of Wands in its reversal. And what are we effectively seeing with the Two of Wands in its reversal? And I want to just point out this second row, we've got a lot of two cards in their reversal. And the two cards in their reversal, particularly in the second row, is working through the observation of identifying and recognizing or finding an energetic flow state. And the thing about it is when we care about one another, then the observation of recognizing and identifying what we energetically need in order to facilitate doing something, it becomes beautiful, right? Because when you're working towards an energetic flow state, right? And I feel like this is what we're like, I feel like there's something important here that we're identifying for some of these energies in solitude, right? Like the quality and condition by which when we understand, like when you're in your authenticity, you've basically found your flow state, right? And the space by which another person works into the context of others' insecurities, right? It's the recognition that your flow state, right? That your flow state is beautiful. And the space by which a flow state is beautiful is effectively the quality and condition by which our flow states don't impact or affect each other. Everybody's got an individual flow state. It's amazing, right? And that's why we identify that our energy is precious. But when we're working too much into comparison, right? Comparison kills flow state, because there you are trying to energetically flow. And if you're going like this perpetually, you can't, you're not, right? You're not finding your flow state, right? You're doing this, right? It's like, and so I feel like it's difficult because I literally see situations for energy and solitude that are potentially trying to articulate the nature by which they had to move away from a relationship in the past, and observing and saying to another that our flow states should not hurt each other. But if another person is navigating insecurity, right, then the insecurity that we experience, right, we cannot blame another for having insecurity, right? But the observation and the understanding that the way that insecurity, right, the way that insecurity is fortified is by communicating what would allow one to feel more energetically stable, right? It's the conversation that allows for deeper stability to occur. So we see that for a lot of those relationships, working into that is what's allowing for that investiture. But even in the quality by which they're doing so, right? The communication upon it, like, I feel like it's hard because for some of those relationships, they couldn't even have that conversation in past partnership because the quality and condition by which they effectively tried to ask something led to trauma to arise. And let's move back into those world relationships related to that. Clarification between the Eight of Cups in its reversal with the Two of Swords in its reversal. What do we have here? We've got the Queen of Wands in its reversal. So let's talk a little bit about that Queen of Wands energy. Because the Queen of Wands energy effectively identifies or works into the context or the observation of being able to identify and recognize what feels energetically stable, right? And the thing about it, and I feel like this is what's happening for a lot of those world relationships are healing from situations and circumstances through which another individual's insecurity potentially created states or observations of working through their own ability to trust, right? Because the observation of being able to find vulnerability, right? The quality and condition by which we effectively become vulnerable. That what's beautiful about it is we identify you cannot force vulnerability into things, right? There's no context by which you can force vulnerability. And you'll often see, right? You'll often see individuals who potentially are working through feelings, and they're working through feelings because they get upset about the fact that others are not vulnerable around them. But the thing that you have to understand, and this is why we identify and articulate upon the fact that vulnerability is a gift, right? Vulnerability is a gift because we can give it, but we cannot create it, right? We can give it, but we can't create it, which is not the space by which we can't create. We can't create vulnerability, right? And often the nature that we are working through our healing is having, and this is what I'm seeing for some of these world relationships, right? Having to heal from situations, from someone, moving away from someone, specifically because they weren't vulnerable enough with them, which is concerning, right? Energy that's understanding the quality and condition by which they're healing because, right, another individual trying to hurt them in the context of healing from a relationship by which they tried to articulate the fact that they moved away from it was because an individual was not vulnerable enough. And what are the energies within the world relationships healing? The concern, how concerning that behavior is, right? It's very deeply concerning when another individual is demanding vulnerability, because that is the sound of another person not being mindful of an individual's boundaries, right? So that is what we see that's basically healing there, because, and this is how they're healing one another, how these relationships are healing. They're identifying how concerning it is that they may have had past experiences wherein another person was demanding vulnerability, because that is why it's dangerous, right? Because the sound of something being violated, right? The sound of something being violated is someone demanding vulnerability, right? That is the context by which they're effectively recognizing and identifying how energetically concerning and distressing that is. And this is leading into those moon relationships. Clarification between the Two of Swords in its reversal with the Eight of Swords in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Knight of Cups in its reversal. So, what are we effectively identifying with the Knight of Cups? Meanwhile, for a lot of these moon relationships, working into the state or nature of being able to identify and take the time they need. I feel like there's something important for some of these moon relationships, and I feel like this is what they're effectively working through, taking their time away from something, right? These moon relationships are understanding that when you take your time away from something, healthy things are energetically able to stay stable in the wake of you not being energetically there. That's all I keep on seeing. Like, that's what I keep on getting. I feel like that's a conversation that's happening in these moon relationships, right? That the sound, like the observation of something that's energetically healthy is that in the context by which you're able to move away from something for a period of time, it stays energetically stable, right? That is literally the sound of stability. And again, what's working into that context is energy that's potentially, these moon relationships are potentially healing from situations that require their perpetual perception, right? They're healing from relationships and situations that require their perpetual perception, because it's the observation that when we're in a healthy space, our perpetual perception is not necessitated in order for something to remain healthy. It should just be healthy. And that brings us to the energy moving back into those relationships, those strength relationships that are coming together right now. Clarification between the Eight of Swords in its reversal with the Two of Wands in its reversal. One card to clarify. We've got here the Three of Pentacles. Now, this is funny because, and I just want to point this out, okay? And this is how you can see the difference of the messages moving through. The energy deep within divine union is going through conversations about healthy things do not require perpetual perception, which is the understanding of recognizing what it means to create an energetically stable environment. And what do we see? What do we see the new relationships doing? They're building consistency with each other, right? They're reinforcing that consistency. They're reinforcing that consistency because they understand that the consistency is healthy for new things, right? Consistency is healthy in the beginning of things, right? And when we build into healthy consistency in the beginning of things, then that consistency arrives and thrives in the context by which we effectively move through it. Now, this brings us back to the world relationships. Clarification between the Queen of Wands in its reversal and the Knight of Cups in its reversal. Hermit card in its reversal. Now, this is working into, and now we're working into the world relationships. What are the world relationships doing? Understand, I know this, you see, everybody's a little bit different right now, so you have to pay attention, okay? The world relationships are working into the observation that everyone requires something different, right? The world relationship is understanding that when we are identifying unique, then it's the observation of understanding and recognizing that every situation is energetically different, which means that when you do something in one situation that's energetically healthy and you do it in another and it's detrimental, because perception is necessary as it relates to the quality of what is identified as care. Okay? So this is why we identify, this is why we're working into strength relationships right now. Do you understand the quality and condition by which all of the energy is identifying different types of strength? Clarification between the Knight of Cups in its reversal and the Three of Pentacles in its upright, okay? And that's going to be the Five of Swords in its reversal, in its upright. So this is the quality and condition of understanding what it means when we're building into, right? When we're building into the observation of being able to fully communicate to another in relation to what it is that we are working to achieve. Because when we are in a healthy space, then it allows for the transparency of energetic communication. And so the quality and condition of navigating through transparency is the quality by which we're effectively able to articulate and amplify to another what it is, right? What it is that we're trying to do and how it is that we're going about it, right? And this is why we identify the healthy, right? A healthy manifestation goal is one that is often, the healthy manifestation goal is often one that is transparent. And the reason we identify that a healthy manifestation goal is transparent is because you're like, yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's just a good thing. It's just, yeah, it's like, it's a positive thing, right? And there you see others with like manifestation goals that feel, right, that feel more indecipherable. And when things are energetically indecipherable, right, then that is often the quality and condition by which we're effectively working through things. But the quality and condition by which we're energetically working through things is often the space by which one isn't trying to create false perceptions. So, what we effectively see that is energetically occurring in those experiences is working through observations of being able to energetically communicate, right? And what I want to just describe this before we draw the last card today. We see three different applications of what it means to define strength that are happening across all of the frequencies. For the energy in solitude, it's the reaffirmation that when we are in a healthy place, our strength does not hurt anyone, right? That when we are in control of our strength, when we are in our authenticity, we are in control of our strength, right? We appreciate our strength. Authenticity is the appreciation of one's own strength, which doesn't mean you go around being like, look how strong I am. You know what I mean? But it's a space by which it often feels like we love our, like it's a quality and condition by which we build an appreciation of the love that we feel for ourselves. And what do you see with someone who is unhealed, right? Oh, look at that person loving themselves. Right? We're supposed to love ourselves because the love that we feel inside, right? What if I told you the love that you create inside means that's how much love you have to give to everybody else around you, right? So when you work into, like, there's nothing more beautiful than finding a love of yourself because the love becomes jubilant, right? When you find that love within, you have nowhere to put it. You're like, I got all this love. I don't know what to do with it. Do you need some of this love? Right? Because you're finding so much of it, right? Because you are the generator of it. And when we are in the business of generating our own love, right? Then that becomes beautiful because when we're generating our own love, then we get to share that love, right? We get to share that love with everybody around us. And so that's how the love grows, right? It's the joy that we feel for who we are, right? That doesn't mean that we're better, right? It doesn't mean that we're better than another person, but it means that we care. Like, that's the inner child healing, right? It's understanding that in every moment that you love yourself, you're holding that inner child and you're saying, I love you so much. That care is so important, because when we're holding ourselves in that way, we're also holding every version of ourselves that came before, right? It's all of that space by which we're able to effectively identify and recognize, right? And that's the one, and that's the energy that we effectively are able to share with all of those around us, right? And that's not, and this is what's happening for the world relationships, right? Because it's also, and this is where we see with the world relationships, which says it's not the quality and condition by which one feels special in having that love for the self, right? It's not the love that identifies, it says I'm special because I have it. It's the identification that everybody holds each other preciously and separately, right? And there's everybody working towards holding their precious. And when everybody is focused upon working towards their precious, beautiful things can occur, because it's the observation of working into that mutual experience of navigating our precious that allows ourselves to be able to find the connection points, because that is the space by which we're honoring ourselves even more. And in the quality and condition by which we're honoring ourselves, right, then we allow others to be able to do so in the same capacity. And that brings us into what we see in the moon relationships, which is working into the quality and condition of navigating and articulating upon the quality and condition of not, if one is aware, right? If one is aware that one being in one's preciousness is energetically hurting another person, then often the quality and condition by which one moves away from something isn't done for the sake of being detrimental, but because that is the expression of energetic love that we effectively put towards each other. Because that observation of navigating this space of being able to identify and recognize what care means is the qualifier by which another person receives it. And that's what I see that these moon relationships are going through, right? You could have all the feeling, you have all the feelings for someone on the planet, but if something you're trying to communicate to another person isn't being received in the same way, right? Then that observation of being able to understand how another person is energetically receptive to it builds into the quality and condition by which they themselves are experiencing our love. So I feel like there's something very important about those moon relationships building into that intuitiveness, because when we're energetically intuitive, it's not just the quality and condition by which we say, I want to give you this because I want to give it to you, but the quality and condition by which we say, what would be received by them in a way that they would deeply understand what one is trying to energetically convey. Final card for today's spread. And this is a culmination of a lot of the strength relationships, which is working through the strength that comes in many different forms, right? And the quality and condition, the ironic thing about strength is never will you be more strong than when you're modifying your strength, right? That's the funny thing about it. Never are you more strong than when you're modifying your strength. Because when you're modifying your strength, it means you have control of it, right? You can't identify that you have strength if the strength is energetically breaking things. But the quality and condition by which one is able to modify strength is strength, right? Because when you think of strength as modifier, then strength is the identification point in being able to understand what is energetically necessary to bring into things. So one's ability to effectively observe and recognize and define upon those experiences or situations, they allow ourselves to effectively refine even more. And when you think about it in that way, then we understand that the quality and condition by which we're healing is always one by which we're energetically honoring our strength even further. And this brings us into the bottom of the deck on this reading. It's painful, right? Because this is often what we understand that happens during a maturation process. What is a maturation process between having those moments where we don't recognize how energetically strong we are, right? Those moments or experiences by which we bring strength to something and we don't recognize or we have the ability to navigate it. So, what we effectively see with this Ace of Swords is I feel like there's a lot of energy that is working through a deep sense of healing at this time. But the deep sense of healing that we're energetically seeing is occurring has to do with the question about the fact of identifying and stating what one is doing with one's strength, right? That when one understands that one's energy is precious, then you get very conscientious about how you're choosing to expend it. And the quality and condition, right? The quality and condition by which when you recognize that your energy is precious, you don't spend it trying to prove things. Like there is nothing more wasteful on this earth to do with strength than trying to prove it. Because when you're trying to prove it, you're energetically wasting it. Okay? It's literally like, what did they do? They tried to prove. What did they do with the strength? Yeah. No, they did what? They the whole time, the whole time, they tried to prove how strong they were. Oh, okay, okay. It's working into, it's being able to build into the quality and condition of being able to articulate, right? It's being able to articulate the beauty, right? When we are working into strength properly, we show the beauty of strength, right? Because strength is beautiful when we're energetically celebrating it, but not, and this is, strength is painful when we perpetually feel like we have to prove that we have it. So make sure if you're navigating this right now, you're working through that sense of compassion, right? How are you showing, how are you allowing your strength to become beautiful? That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my site. So I encourage you to do it there. A couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who participated in our recent class on the 2 cards of the tarot. Our next class will be held on Friday, August 14th at 5:30 p.m. PST, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the 3 cards of the minor arcana. If you would like to become a part of that tarot class program, all you need to do is head on over to my stack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my stack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also, as a paid monthly subscriber, have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library class archive. Now, it's not necessary to catch up. I'll be doing my best to give you an update on everything we've studied prior to beginning that next class, but the material is there for you to receive as you're ready to receive it. You'll also have access to a chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything we've learned and studied thus far. And if you become a founding member, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of readings, but you'll also have access to over 20 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library class archive, as well as the opportunity of receiving an opportunity to meet with me to understand and assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage moving towards your tarot goals going forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my stack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events, as well as my online live schedule and my mystic meditation articles, which give you insights on everything we've been seeing energetically. I just wrote one recently on this new moon that the full moon that we had recently. I'll be having one out shortly on the new moon we've got coming up. Finally, I want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. Also, for my students that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute reads, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey at a budget, as well as my dream interpretation readings, which you can purchase per dream or as a series. Now, if you purchase a series, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow. That is our daily collective read. We are going to get started on personal readings. Congratulations to Avatar. You got our highest gifter today, so you'll be getting that free reading. And thank you so much, Nambuere. You came in second, so you will have an additional card in your one card readings. As I mentioned, the list is closed today, but if you would like to get on the list for tomorrow, you will be the first person read for. You'll have priority, which means you'll be read for before we start the daily collective. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Excellent. And please remember also, friends, we're at 42K likes. When we get to 50K, I will be gifting a reading back to the collective. So make sure you're tapping that screen, and we will get to 50K in no time. Excellent. Excellent. You're so welcome, Stella. And thank you for the follow, Dixie. I'll respond back to you, dear. Excellent. Yeah, that's a lot of planets in retrograde right now. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you for confirming, Rainbow, and thank you, Becky, for the follow. That should be fun. Thank you so much for that insight, Rainbow. I really appreciate it. Absolutely. No, that's a very good way of describing it, Nambuere. Trauma does build mountains out of molehills. Absolutely. How you doing today, Bridget? Oh, that's really kind of you, Nambuere. Thank you for encouraging everybody to tap the screen. I appreciate it. Thank you. Excellent. We do tarot cards here, Mr. Lost. Absolutely. Thank you for the compliment, KX. Excellent. Hi there. How are you doing today, Guara from India? Hope you're having a beautiful day. I'll take it. All right. Hi. Thank you as well, Mighty, for receiving these messages. Excellent. Oh, I love it. Stand where you are, use what you have, and grow to the next step. Tap to claim. How you doing today, Masa? You're so welcome. Thank you for being here and being a part of this collective. Absolutely. Thank you as well, Avatar. Oh, I didn't even blink twice. I know exactly what she means. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Thank you for being here, Nambuere, and receiving it. Oh, how you doing today, Dada? It's okay. You know, if you missed it, listen, it's okay. You know where to find it. Okay? It'll be up on the place where we keep the videos, and it'll be up shortly, too, on the stack. Thank you, Nikki. I appreciate you. Excellent. All right. Let's continue. So as I mentioned, friends, we are working on a tight timeline today. Avatar, My question is, would you like that reading today or would you like to hold that reading for tomorrow? Just let me know. And while we wait for Avatar to confirm, you want to do it tomorrow? Okay, perfect. So while we're waiting, we are going to move directly into one card readings for what? I definitely missed that. Why am I not seeing Bridget's comments? Is it just me? Why am I? Oh, there's Bridget. Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't see them before. That's wild. Excellent. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yep. The baby is so funny. I'm seeing it now. That's too funny. All right, let's continue. So we are going to get started on one card readings. Oh, I'm so happy, Bridget. So I'm glad to hear that you got there safely. I'm very relieved. Wonderful. Thank you for keeping us up to date and up to speed. All right, so we are going to get started on one card readings for Superfam and for those who are paid members. Oh, you're so welcome, dear. I'm so happy for you. If you have a question, just go ahead and post it. If you'd like to become a Superfam or a paid member, your subscription will allow you that one card. Let's get to it. Where's my deck? Okay. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You're so welcome, dear. Mm-hmm. I got you, Lisa. Beautiful. One card from the inner child, please. The Ace of Wands in its reversal. The Ace of Wands in its reversal is working through circumstances or situations. You've become you've become the force that would energetically protect you. You know, I just keep on getting. I have to point out, Ace of Wands, in its reversal is, and I want to point this out. There are things that our inner child, there are things that our inner child expects of us. And then there are moments where when we surpass our inner child's wildest expectations. Yeah, and that's the thing I keep on getting, right? Because it's saying to me and you have to understand, um, right, when the inner child is like speechless, then it's the observation of being able to understand that not only you've arrived into the moment by which it's saying to me, it's like and more kind of energy, right? And I love to point this out, like this is where the word amour comes from, right? Because there's what we expect, and then there's even like once we reach the expectation, right? Like it's the observation of being able to always, like, I keep on getting that observation of bringing a flourish to things that they value about you, right? Like that observation of always working into the context of bringing that quality of flourish into things, because it allows it's like I keep on seeing like that's the quality and condition by which they recognize and identify upon, right, not only what you're trying to do, but the way that you're trying to energetically achieve it or bring it about. Mm-hmm. Continuing. Mm-hmm. I got you, dear. Avatar. I got you. One card, please. We've got the Sun card. The Sun card in its reversal is the Sun card in its reversal is working into it's I feel like I feel like I see you in a place of deep empathy, right? And it's hard when you see individuals that focus on negative, right? So in terms of that, like bottom of the deck, right? The best way to effectively recognize, like it says to me, like I see some energy kind of working through, like I see a lot of energy working through something in a way by which there's a lot of I feel like there's a lot of heaviness around something. And I feel like when another person is working through heaviness, right, the observation of being able to articulate to another in terms of like working into or doing something in a way that helps another person identify and recognize like the full force and scope of intention, particularly, especially with, I keep on getting, especially with this fire dragon energy. I feel like what we're effectively identifying or seeing there is you being able to understand like it's hard when we identify the quality and condition by which like the quality and condition by which like your like I keep on getting the message from one of your guides saying your joy does not hurt anything, right? It's like your joy is others delight. So the ability by being able to be intuitive in terms of recognizing what another person is aspiring for is how we are able to energetically do something even more. So I feel like there's it's interesting because I almost feel like I see you communicating for another individual, specifically and particularly as it relates to being able to amplify or articulate one's own feelings in relation to what another person is navigating or working through, right? Like trying to bring some kind of thinking about bringing positivity, right? Is positivity is a gift in terms of helping another person see possibility. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. You're so welcome, dear. Hi there, Daniela. I got you. Highest priority, please, for Daniela. Mm-hmm. Um, I feel like I'm seeing something important there. I keep on getting Danielle, everything is going to get done. It just requires one to be, it requires one to recognize and identify the nature by which everything must be done. So if something feels like it's overwhelming, just break it into smaller pieces. Yeah, especially with this four of swords in its reversal, right? The ability to effectively identify and recognize and work through things via the ability, like if it feels overwhelming, just make it smaller, particularly with this goose energy, because what we effectively identify or recognize in those experiences is working into like I keep on getting many hands make the work easier. So potentially even being able to articulate or help another person in terms of getting your own perspective in terms of something you're trying to do or the way that you're trying to do it. Absolutely. I do read the chat, lol. I'm actually in the process of doing the one cards for those who are paid members. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Every time you feel overwhelmed, Daniela, I just want you to recenter. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Bridget, one card, highest priority, please. Um, yeah, oh my gosh. Oh man, I just like I just see you being like, oh, like I just see you saying, like I see you around someone and being like, you're perfect. I feel like I see you and another person being like this right now, right? Like just a lot of this energy surrounding, like I keep on getting a lot of this energy surrounding an energetic feeling, or like I feel like I see you around some kind of energy that's deeply activating to you in the best way possible, right? Like I keep on hearing like memories or recollections coming back, particularly and especially with this owl energy, like I love it. I love it. I love when old souls find each other. Okay, how you doing? Like there's a little bit of that energy there, right? Like I feel like there's something I feel like there's something very much related to feeling some kind of energetic intensity as it relates to building a connection. But even in the context of building an energetic connection, what I'm effectively identifying or seeing there is, I could keep on seeing like paying attention to your dream space or understanding or feeling a connection with another that reaffirms your own journey. Avatar, yep, I got you, dear. Alexandra, one card, highest priority. Um, the Devil card in its reversal. You can't protect another person from their choices. If someone's making selfish choices, I need to point this out, okay? And this often happens. If someone is making selfish choices, you did not create that. You're experiencing it. Okay? I'm going to say it again. Yeah, okay? Don't if another person is making selfish choices, you did not create that experience, you're dealing with it. You can't help you cannot stop another person from making healthy choice. Like the only way you can navigate when you see someone making a selfish choice is putting distance away from it, right? And often, like, you also don't owe somebody an explanation when that's occurring, particularly and especially if they're trying to articulate that you are the one being selfish. Mm-hmm. I got you. Um, 2026. These are one card readings for paid members. If you'd like to become a paid member, I'm happy to draw a card for you. You're so welcome, Daniela. Highest, please, for Nikki. It's going to get better. I feel like you have to, like, I keep on seeing some kind of conversation happening in terms of thinking, like, of the observation of the difference between a short term frustration versus long term happiness, right? Yeah, sometimes a short term investiture helps us work through long time happiness because, right, it reaffirms our own energetic commitment in terms of what is achievable and resolvable, or what one is effectively navigating. And the thing about it is, um, I keep on hearing the guy, like I have a guide around you saying the truth always, right, the truth always wins out. And when I hear the truth always wins out, it's the observation that when others understand, right, when others understand that they've been having to navigate another person's selfish choices, how do you think that that effectively affects the relationship there, right? Like when another person can't answer a question, because like I keep wondering, somebody asking a question, another person saying, well, I was angry, right? Being like, oh, you denied me joy to satisfy your anger, right? Like that's bitter energy, right? Bitter energy will deny another person's joy to satisfy their anger, and they're often, this is why we talk about those who are making bitter choices often drown in their own bitterness, because when another person recognizes a fact that they've been denied joy because they've been making bitter choices, right? Then that is the inevitable distance that they're creating every time they make a choice in that way. Mini, one card on partnership. Got it. This feels beautiful. It feels like a continuation of something, but not just a continuation. It feels like something that they would not be doing were you not a part of their experience. You know? It feels like, it almost feels like something they're doing in a way to honor you, because it's like, it says to me like you gave someone some kind of momentum, right? Yeah, you like it's the observation of the profound effect that you've had on another individual, you know? Trishina, good to see you today. Ooh, one card. Sometimes the best thing to do is not the easiest thing to do, you know? And sometimes the loving choice isn't the popular choice, right? Because it's articulating upon, right? Like that's exactly why. Like I need to point out, if it's not an easy choice and you're struggling with it, it's probably the right one, because you're not doing it, like you're not doing it. You're not doing it like that's not you doing something whimsically. Like that's not something, like that's not something, like you observe, like there is nothing self-centered about you doing something that's difficult, because like if it's difficult, it's probably the right thing to do. Okay, because it's not something you feel inclined to do, but you feel like you have to do. Yeah, absolutely. I got you, Laurel. Good to see you today. For Maria and Lol, just a reminder, these are one card readings for those who are paid members. So if you become a paid member, I'm happy to draw a card for you. Absolutely. Laurel. Oh, interesting. Okay. It feels like an inner child healing moment. Yeah. You know, I feel like I don't know if they believe the same things that you do, but it says to me the type of person that appreciates a different opinion. I like to point out a a healthy, a healthy, like a healthy position is one that's fortified and nourished by someone who has a different one, right? Like it says to me, like somebody who recognizes we don't need to believe the same things as long as we hold the same standards to be true, you know? Okay. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Hold on a moment. Oh, Esteban, how you doing, dear? Oh, I can't even imagine. Yeah. How you gonna let that one go? Yep, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I can imagine. Yep, I'm going back. If I missed it, guys, they come through very quickly. So if I missed, please feel free to just re ask. I've got you, Numbwere. Um, if you have too much to do, it's okay to get help with something. You know, I need to point this out. You know, the observation of like the word that's coming through is like a healthy situation is one by which you can delegate responsibility to others, right? So I feel like there's something about that by which you, like, if another person is asking for responsibility, see what they do with a little bit of it, right? Like, give them something small. Okay, see what they do with it. Yeah, yeah, especially I feel like I see someone around you being like, I'm ready, right? And never, when someone's like, I'm ready, never were they so ready, right? Because, like, if you're ready, honestly, the way you navigate something is with a sense of caution, not with a flamboyance that insists upon the fact that one is energetically ready. I know how difficult that can be when someone's like, I am so ready. Never were they less ready. Like, being like, understanding the gravitas, right? Is being able to help under another person recognize what responsibility means. Healthy energy understands gravitas, is what I'm getting. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm going back. Yep, if I missed, I'm just double checking. Mm-hmm. How you doing, Esteban? Good to see you today. Mm-hmm. Yes. One card for Esteban, highest priority, please. Okay. I feel like it's like when another I need to point to something. When another person offers you something, only when they see that you have one foot out the door, that's what we call closure, right? Because we don't offer things as one is leaving to tempt one back, right? They should have been offered to us, like it's like the space by which it should have been offered to you without it requiring you to move away from something, right? And that's why we often recognize, like, when somebody does that, right, it doesn't feel right, because it shouldn't take that for them to be able to give that to you, right? Mm-hmm. I got you, Erica. One card on there. I feel like they've got a lot of empathy for how much you might be navigating right now. You know, bottom of the deck on this. Yeah. Like, I feel like it's like I just keep on seeing someone who's, I feel like I see somebody who feels like they've got a lot of empathy in you having to take on an extra burden of responsibility upon things, you know? Like, it says to me, like, someone who recognizes that when we care about each other, right? Like, when we care about each other, we're working into mutual responsibility. Like, we don't, like, it says to me, like, I feels like somebody who recognizes that you're navigating a situation of someone who intentionally, like, asks for responsibility but then lets you down, and then asks for responsibility again, because it's the observation of another person, that, like, it's like somebody working through the observation of someone saying, like that's often, like, that's negligent energy. It says, like, oh, that you better do it yourself because this is what you can expect from me, right? So, I don't know why they say, like, they recognize the fact that you're dealing with some kind of oopsies energy, right? And oopsies energy being like, I bet you feel foolish for having to effectively, for having depended on me in some way, right? Like, they have experience with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for confirming, Esteban. Yeah, absolutely. One card for Ella, please. One card for Ella. Um, I feel like this is a continuation of what I was seeing in your dream, which is like, if another person is trying to find joy at the expense of you, they don't recognize what they've done to themselves spiritually, right? Like, you have to understand the quality and condition of others, right? the quality and condition of others, identifying and recognizing or working through the context of identifying and like the quality and condition about adoring each other, which is the difference between talking to about each other adoringly, which is like, and I feel like this is, hold on, there's a very specific conversation that's coming through spirit, which is when we're talking about each other adoringly, we articulate upon something about another that bothers us, but we hold sweetly, right? Versus the quality and condition by which another person speaks negatively upon someone and tries to articulate that they were only joking when another person identifies that they're hurt, right? These are the guides are there's no miscommunication in that in spirit, right? Spirit can see the intention between somebody, the spirit can see the difference between someone speaking upon someone in an adoring way, right? And an adoring way is a space by which another person frustrates us, but we can see our adoration even as we communicate it, versus, right, versus circumstances or situations by which an individual tries to articulate or communicate upon, right, the quality and nature by which they try to effectively identify or create unrest in another by saying, like, doesn't that bother you? Or doesn't that, like, somebody trying to, like, someone trying to encourage another person to define upon further hurt via their own, like, trying to, like with their own, like the negative disruption point of another's unhealthy motivations. Animal oracle, yeah, like that's what I'm seeing there too with that otter energy, right? That's why, remember when I said that you could see them talking about containers, they're articulating to you that like spirit's taking care of something for you. Mm-hmm. I got you. Hi there, Ruby. One card, please. Yeah, I mean, it says to me, it feels to me like there's something about a situation or circumstance. It's like it feels like somebody, like, why does one desire something if one is not attentive to it, right? So it feels to me like often with like the queen of, like, the thing about this with the Queen of Pentacles in its reversal, right? Like an energy recognizing or identifying, particularly with like the blank manifestation goal, that um, when we are being properly attentive to each other, right? Then little things don't happen, and little things compounded become discerning, like little things happening repeatedly become concerning because they point to an unhealthy pattern. So your ability to effectively communicate and just articulate upon a pattern that you see emerging is how you can effectively build into the articulation of what needs to be addressed. You're so welcome, Numbwere. Absolutely. Sending you support, Minnie. Thank you. You're so welcome, Esteban. Thank you, Sam, for the follow. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's beautiful, Nikki. You're so welcome, Ella. Julia, I got you, dear. Daniela, when someone jokes but can hurt deeply, even when they say yes. But you have to understand, like, sometimes, right? Like, sometimes another person jokes in that way to see what they can get away with, right? Like, spirit can tell the difference between someone testing boundaries versus someone who's talking towards another person with a sense of endearment. Hangman for Julia, just be patient right now, right? Don't listen. Don't be reactive in terms of something that you're perceiving. Just take note of it, right? And especially with this Queen of Pentacles, right? Your ability to, I feel like it's like I said, if it feels like they're not inclined, be like, we need to discuss my role, right? Because if it's something by which you're identifying, if they articulated that you would be able to identify something and then you're doing it and they're saying, well, we don't want to do that, being like, okay, so I'm not in that role. So am I, like, you being able to say, like, let's be clear upon what you're asking of me to be able, and when, if your role is changing, then you can change, right? Then you can identify and articulate upon what they can expect from you. You're so welcome, dear. Absolutely. Thank you for those heart me's, Danny. Hi there, Dada. You can absolutely. Yep. Oh, I appreciate that, Dada. Thank you, though. I appreciate you. But would you like your one card? You always need, you never get your one card. What would you like for your one card? You're welcome, Daniela. My friends, I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages. If you missed today's daily collective, it will be available. It should be available on the place where we keep the videos. It'll also be up shortly on the stack. If you became a superfam or a paid member today, welcome. I would encourage you to head over to our superfam only head over to our superfam only disco channel. I'm going to post it here if you'd like to have access to it. You just need to give me just send me a message with a disco gif, and I will send you an invite to the disco. You can introduce yourself to the collective, and there in the disco, you will find a coupon code to your tarot class, to the tarot class subscription program coupon code that will give you a discount to that class. Our next class is going to be on Friday, August 14th at 5:30 p.m. PST, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We are going to be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the 3 cards of the minor arcana. We will be back on tomorrow at our at a what 8:30 8:30 a.m. PST, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. If you would like to be notified as to when I've gone live, you can head over. You can head over to my profile. You'll find there. You can sign up directly for the event tomorrow, and if you get on the list today, you'll be first to be read for tomorrow, which means you'll have priority and be read for before we start the daily collective. Thank you for letting me know, Julia. Thank you for sharing the live, Dada. Oh, did we get to 50K? Oh, we got to 50K. Oh, guys, have to remind me. You guys didn't even say we'd get to 50K. Thank you, guys. Message from your guides for Dada, please. What do we have? Just continue. They know how hard it is. They know how hard it is. And I feel like the thing about it is they're saying that they trust your judgment implicitly. Right? Yeah, particularly and especially with this Queen of Pentacles. If another person has decided that they want to see you negatively, then they'll be able, like, you could literally, if another person like wants to see you negatively, you could literally give them everything and they'd be like, you know what I mean? Like, it's the observation. Like, that's what's hard when another person has a negative perception on things, right? Because when another person has decided that they want to see everything you do, like if they're in a fear-based mindset, right, then there's very little you can do to try to articulate to another that you're trying to do something from a positive way, right? Because they're qualifying and they're articulating in every space the fact that they're energetically afraid. And the thing about it is, like, energy that's afraid makes dangerous choices, specifically and particularly because, right, it's the quality and condition by which everything you do, right, even if it comes from the most authentic way, they're looking at and trying to figure out, oh, what do they mean by that? Being like it's the observation that your authenticity is a gift. And if another person can't see that authenticity, then that's them projecting how they see themselves on you. It doesn't say anything to do about your own personhood. Thank you so much, dear. My friends, I want to thank you so much for having that reading for being here today and receiving these messages. As I mentioned, if you miss a daily collective, it'll be up shortly over on the stack, and it should be up currently on the place where we keep the videos. I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful day. Huge thank you to my followers, old and new. Thank you for being here and receiving these messages. Huge thank you to my subscribers. Your ongoing support means the absolute world to me. For anybody who's joining us on the place where we keep the videos, these were one card readings we were doing. If you'd like to become a paid member, I'll be happy to draw a free card for you next time. I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful day. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of one another. And I will talk to you all tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone. Oh, we were at the 50K. I almost forgot the 50K. I caught myself. Okay. All right. So I am thinking of a number right now. Between 1 and I'm thinking of a number right now between 1 and 31. First person I see that posts that number will get the reading. First person I see, not the first person that posts it. Sometimes I see things in a different order than you guys see them. Nope. Oh, Adam, congratulations. All right, that will be available to you starting tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for helping us get to that 50K. As I mentioned, I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful day. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of one another, and we'll do this again tomorrow.